What's up, my dudes? It's a Vigorous Q&A. Please leave me if the audio is good, because I made some small changes just to make sure that everything is good. And in the meantime, some updates. We're still working on getting Chase's channel back. No conclusive details yet, so please subscribe to his Rumble. I'll link that down below when we're done with this live stream. And did you guys watch Olympia? I watched the desktop bodybuilding bootleg live stream. That's what I did all weekend last weekend. It was a lot of fun to watch Xavier go through, the poses and all that stuff and see who was going to win. Surprisingly, Derek won. He was not 100%. I liked his shape at the Arnold Classic a little bit better, but at the Arnold Classic, obviously it's the Arnold Classic. They prefer shape and conditioning, and at the Mr. Olympia, they prefer fullness, hardness, density, and the detail and the side effects is a little bit on the wayside. And I think that Samson kind of bombed. He needed probably another week to fill out. Anyway, so that was fun last weekend. When I look at my face here on the live stream, I think that the GH is definitely working. My face looks a lot rounder than last week. So 6 IUs of growth hormone just went in last Monday. And the face is full. All right, guys, let's see. Is there any other updates? Oh, yeah, next Monday, or probably Tuesday, I still have to make a few adjustments. There's going to be the Anabolic Roundtable episode 15. So we recorded that in early September, and then, we had some technical difficulties. We all got busy. Dean got busy. Kurt got busy. I got busy. My mom was here for 3 weeks. I didn't want to miss, I didn't want to set like 3 hours aside because we record for 2 hours and bullshit for an hour. So it didn't really have time to record. And then we got part 2 of episode 15 in last week. So that will drop on Tuesday, I think, because there were some audio issues and Alvaro let me know that I needed to fix a couple things, added some overlays. So Monday won't go live, but Tuesday it should be there. And then you guys will be entertained with 2 hours and 15 minutes discussing kidney health and, some regular updates about the raw situation and high dose SLU and all that stuff. So subscribe now if you haven't, so you don't miss it. Let's see, what else is new? Oh, yeah, the Clips channel now has 10,000 subscribers. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. 10,000 subscribers is quite a lot for a Clips channel, and the revenue is almost matching the revenue from this YouTube channel because we're posting 2 clips per day there. You subscribe down below in case you haven't watched the Clips channel yet. Like this live stream gets like 15,000 views. But the Clips channel has 10,000 subscribers. So the calculation-wise, it doesn't really make sense, obviously. So subscribe, you ingrates. Then we can get started. Let's put the disclaimer out of the way, and then we can talk about drugs. Man, look at that beautiful disclaimer with the blue and red background. I still need to set up the lights. It's been crazy busy. Let's see, there's a few other updates. Anabolic Pharmacist just started a bulk warehouse, so that's already indexed in the source list. So in case you want to buy high-dose SLU, 10 milligrams, 20 milligrams, 100 milligram capsules, those are available through Anabolic Pharmacist's website. That website is now back. He had a little bit of technical difficulties on the website end, and now it's live, up and running, and the bulk warehouse is live. So if you want to buy 10 Retas or 10... Terzepatides or 10 whatever, right? Bulk discounts, and it's quite cheap. And if you use my codes, Vigorous, then you save yourself another 10%. I saw that moderate aminos, let's see, let me go through the list. They added in YK11 oil capsules and liquid, so I guess that's in the dropper. They have methylene blue liquid, so it's also in the dropper. And then DARA, diisopropylamine dichloroacetate, capsules and liquid, so that's both oral. They don't have injectable data, or they already had injectable data, but the capsules and the liquid is now added. And myonosyl tripyrophosphate injectable, which should be a lot more potent than the oral version because the oral bioavailability of ITPP is not that stellar, even though 250 milligrams 3 times a week is more than enough to get your hemoglobin concentration and oxygen affinity up to the point you're never out of breath running the Trimbolone sandwich. All right, there's a boatload of questions coming in, so let's get started. Do you guys want a cycle update first? Yeah, let's do a cycle update. I'm right now, I think the last 2 weeks, on 600 tests, 600 Deca, 250 Anadrol per week, and then that's the last 2 weeks. and 1 milligram Increlex pre-workout, so that's 5 milligrams per week. Then I take 400 milligrams SLU per day, whether that's workout days or non-workout days. 1 milligram MOD-C split, half a milligram morning and evening. 1 milligram SS31 split, half a milligram morning and evening. Or pre-workout, I take the second dose, so that's half a milligram MOD-C and half a milligram SS31 pre-workout. Absolutely amazing. And otherwise, I take the full dose in the morning. 10 milligrams methylene blue. Again, 400 milligrams SLU. And then I added in 6-IU's growth hormone. That's why my face is so puffy. But the fullness is, it's coming back. Gained a kilo already, 2 pounds up, 2.5 pounds. Thumbs up. Hitting PRs left and right. And then I was able to acquire some mint, finally. So I'll do blood work tomorrow. And then see if we have a little bit of room to spare for mint. Because right now I'm on, 600 milligrams, 250, 1450, 150 mint, and 150 Tren, 750, 1750. Yeah, I don't think that's too bad. 2 months till Christmas. Let's do some blood work first, see if I have some wiggle room regarding my SHBG levels and lipids and liver enzymes. Right, obviously, anadrol is not too great for your liver, even though I'm on a boatload of Tatka. So I might throw in 150 milligrams of mint and 150 milligrams Trampolines sandwich, and then write this shiznit out to the end of the year, and then throw in the towel. So that's cycle update. Let's get into some questions. Let's see. Marcus asks, "Hey Steve, any thoughts whether injectable glutathione can be used sub-Q? All I see is people using it IM." Yeah, I've done sub-Q and IM, and both work. And it's hard to measure your glutathione levels. There's a couple labs in the world that offer, glutathione peroxidase, something like that. GSK is a marker that you can test. Here in Thailand, it's not available. So I take 1,000 milligrams N-acetylcysteine in the morning and again in the evening, 2,000 milligrams per day. And then I inject 600 milligrams glutathione 2 or 3 times per week. So that's 1,200 to 800 milligrams per week. So usually I do that on leg days, so I have 2 leg days a week, right? 600 milligrams before bed, and then another 600 milligrams on Sunday if I don't forget. On Sunday, I'm usually out eating good food, and that probably causes a lot of oxidative stress also. So I need to put the glutathione in to kind of overcome that roadblock. And sometimes I do intramuscular, sometimes I do sub-Q. Sub-Q hurts more than intramuscular, but it's probably because my intramuscular depots has been violated so much from all the injections that I've done over the decades that there's no sensitivity there anymore. Right? You can literally roundhouse kick me in the ass and it wouldn't faze me. I'm like, oh, thanks for the massage, bro. All the knots and the scar tissue are now slightly resolved, so keep roundhouse kicking me in the ass. Might be slightly aroused. You know, hey, it's Vigorous Q&A. We're going to throw in dad jokes. So I've done both, and it works. But sub-Q hurts more than intramuscular, yeah, from my experience. But again, if I do intramuscular shots, it's only the glutes. I no longer pin my lats. I no longer pin my quads. It's gluteus only. But yeah, you can do both, man. Once it's in the body, it's in the body. And the only thing that's really going to affect is the absorption time. So sub-Q absorbs a little bit slower than intramuscular, obviously, versus intravenous, which is basically instantaneous absorption. Is when it's in the bloodstream, it goes systemic, and it's at the place where it needs to be within a couple minutes. And then sub-Q is 24 hours, and intramuscular a couple of hours, before it all disperses and gets absorbed. So it depends on what you want and what you can tolerate. I've done both, and both work. And mine is a pimple here and there. I think my skin is pretty damn good, which is an effect of glutathione, obviously. Let's see, very nice. How long can a 100 IU GH pen be used after opening? So most of the pharmaceuticals say to dispose it after 30 days, right? That's with insulin, that's the case. With norditropin, that's the case. Some brands of HCGs say that you can keep it 60 days after reconstitution. A GH pen or an insulin pen is self-sealing, so you have the cartridge, and then every time you click it at the back end, obviously the cartridge, the volume, the liquid in the cartridge gets less and less and less and less and less. So there's nothing going in. So technically, you should be able to keep it for 30, maybe even 60 days if the pen is pharmaceutical. So there's a lot of underground lab now that produce GH pens, right? A Belligas, for example, or Tiger, or man, there's so many brands now that get it from India or China. I use the Belligas ones and they work fine, but I go through that a little bit faster than 30 days because they're 36 IU. So what's it, 6 days? 36 divided by 6. Yeah, 6 days. So, the pen can't even blink, doesn't even know what happened and it's already gone. Magic trick. So the 30 days it doesn't last. But if you have 100 IUs and you run 3 IUs per day, 3.3 IUs, then yeah, you last 30 days. Let's see. Yeah, 3.3 IUs. And that's pretty okay. So with insulin and Norditropin and then maybe some of the underground pens, it should be 30 days should be okay. But if you reconstitute 10 IUs of generics and you put some air in there, even though if you vacuum seal it afterwards, like you draw all the air out, the pollutants can get in there. And then, I would recommend people to run through it in about a week using bacteriostatic water with sterile water. It's probably 2 days, 3 days, or normal saline solution 2 or 3 days. So, and more GH is better, even though it's not so good for your wallet. So run through it as fast as your body can tolerate. Basically. And here we go. Joshua's in the chat. Conan, what is best in life? What was it? To crush your enemies, see them driven. No, what? Yeah, crush your enemies, see them driven before you. Hear the limitations of the women, and make the lives of the girly men absolutely miserable. Let's see. Sky Vision Tube became a member. Question right away. Resting or sleep heart rate is 85. It's pretty high. 70 on wake up. Okay, that's better. No food 2 hours before bed. Daily cardio. Lift 5 times a week. Limited caffeine on 200 milligrams per week of testosterone administered daily. 90 grams of thyroid, so that's your problem. 2, you use a growth hormone, that could also be a problem, increasing your thyroid conversion. 4 milligrams of retatrutide, that's also a problem. 12% body fat, that's not a problem. Beta blockers won't help. How do I lower my HR? Well, you have to take the thyroid, the growth hormone, and the retatrutide out because they can all increase your resting heart rate and sleep heart rate also. So retatrutide, 4 milligrams per week is known to increase resting heart rate. And thyroid hormones, obviously, 90 grains. I don't know how much T3 and T4 that is, but it's more than enough to activate your heart rate through the thyroid receptors. And you take a beta blocker, and a beta blocker blocks the beta receptors, but not the thyroid receptors. So maybe look into Sobuterol. That activates it. Man, what was it? At least it doesn't increase the resting heart rate. Right? So it activates selectively, I think, the thyroid receptor alpha 1, if I remember correctly. I should watch the Sobuterol deep dive again. It's been months since I researched. So maybe replace the thyroid granules with Sobuterol, 100 micrograms, 200 micrograms daily. The growth hormone I would keep in there, and then the retatrutide you would probably need to lower to 2 milligrams a week, but then your appetite goes up. So maybe you need to increase the intensity of your cardio and the duration to bring your heart rate down. But I think in this picture, step by step wise, I think growth hormone is the lowest problem. The second problem is the retatrutide. The highest problem is the thyroid. Yeah, maybe you have sleep apnea, dude. That could also be the case, right? And your heart rate is also very high because you're literally choking. Bart, I feel I cannot carb load on retatrutide. Muscle still flat, and I get bloated even with a super clean carb load only on white rice. Is it expected from glucagon agonism? When should I stop Reta before? Yeah, so a lot of people report that, and I notice the same thing myself, but I'm also using a high-dose SLU PP332, which means I'm pretty flat. So I carb load usually in the weekend. Today, a little cheat meal with some friends from Padia. So I had one, you can see it on my Instagram story, some cookie with ice cream. Ooh, 100 extra carbs today. I skipped the fruit, so I'll probably balance out. But yeah, I've noticed that I'm a little bit more flat. So I added in the Anadrol and the growth hormone, and now the flatness is a little bit less. But yeah, it's still flat. Obviously, tomorrow, look at that separation. Derek Lunsford would kill for this separation, huh? Look at this. Look, you can put your whole finger in there. You can hide a whole hot dog in there. What happened to my hot dog? It said right here, lady. It falls out your bicep. Where were we? Yeah, so it could be from the glucagon agonism. It could be from the manipulation of the GIP and GLP-1, which alters insulin release, obviously. So what I noticed is with most guys on retatrutide is that if you use a little bit of Lantus or Humalog with your meals, Lantus in the morning, obviously, it's a long-acting insulin, and Humalog with meals, it's a fast-acting insulin. Make sure you get the insulin ebook. It's on my website, $75 perma on 25% discount, because they're a little bit old, but the information is still gold. Old but gold. And if you combine erythritide with a little bit of insulin on your carb up days, if it's clean, the fullness will return. Yeah, or maybe you need to go on the Anadrol and GH train, and then you're the same like me. You know, you're still full, even though you're carbohydrate depleted. Maybe related. Why so many competitors have missed their peak at this year's O? Honestly, I thought most competitors were in shape, dude. I think this was the most in shaped athletes I've seen, and that makes me feel a little bit stupid that I didn't go, even though I don't regret it. I thought people looked good. You know, it could be from the raw shortage. Like a few weeks out, they looked 100% incredible on social media, and yet softest on stage, mass available, GLP use. I mean, the lighting doesn't help, right? You have that backlighting, especially during finals or at the expo. So it's one of the reasons why I didn't want to buy the live stream, because I knew last year when I was there, I had a gold VIP ticket through a friend of mine, Dan. He got us a gold VIP ticket, and me and Aaron and Jared and Chase were all sitting there in the front row. Dude, you can't see anything with the LEDs in the background. It completely washes out the physique. So it's like, you know what? I don't want to spend $80 on the live stream if they're going to do it again. Now, this year, for the Mr. Olympia prejudging, at least I had a black background, but the LEDs were still on. They were still light shining. It was black, but they still had a logo and some graphics. And so I want black, like so black. Samson Dauda and Terrence Ruffin actually stands out. Right now, you couldn't see them. They got so much backlight that you just see contours because they have a darker skin color, and they use a little bit of protein to help offset, you know, them against the competitors. So I think the lighting just sucks. You know, that's why I'd rather go to the Arnold Classic now, because I have a black backdrop. So I think the lighting sucks. You know, the Mr. Olympia is one when you're a little bit fuller and rounder compared to the Arnold Classic, where, you know, more in shape, more detail, more separation is rewarded. So Samson Dauda played the complete polar opposite. He should have looked at the Mr. Olympia like he looked at the Arnold last year or this year, right, where he was blasting full, and then he thought he was going to win. But Derek Lunsford was in phenomenal condition, one of the best physiques of all time, in my opinion, what he brought to the Arnold Classic stage. And of course, he works with Chris Aceto. So Chris is like, okay, you got to be shredded for the Arnold and blasting full for the Mr. Olympia. He understands because he's been doing it for ages. And Samson's wife, not so much experience, you know, with the shit, let's be honest. So, and Samson's got phenomenal genetics, and I'm sure they make a great team. But, you know, if you want to play with the big boys, you got to go with the big boy coaches. Let's be fucking honest here. Otherwise, you're going to lose. And that's why he keeps losing. You know, they don't have a good game plan. So if Samson showed up at the Arnold Classic like he did at the Mr. Olympia, he probably would have won. And if he showed up at the Mr. Olympia like he looked at the Arnold Classic, he probably would have won, because the physiques are not matching to the criteria of these shows. And yeah, and it could be from the raw shortage, and, you know, maybe not everybody can get Mastron or Halotestin or the drugs they don't test, you know, so. But I thought Classic Physique and 212 and Mr. Olympia, the entire lineup, most of them actually look good. I mean, if you go down to 16th place, most of these guys are fucking in shape, you know. Sasan Haradi was in phenomenal shape. And how many shows did that guy do this year? He did like every show. And he still looked good. So, you know, but that's a hardcore blue-collar bodybuilder that doesn't make excuses and doesn't talk shit and just goes to shows up in shape and looks good, and unfortunately he didn't get rewarded again. You know, he did win a show to qualify for the Mr. Olympia, but at the Mr. Olympia, I had him way higher than 16th. You know, a couple of physiques that he should have beaten, in my opinion. But hey, I was just watching the live stream, the bootlegged live stream. Reta made me flat feels like an excuse. Yeah, but it does happen. You know, it suppresses your appetite and it modulates your insulin release, and the glucagon agonism obviously you know, alters your hepatic glucose production and storage, so that could mean that you get a little bit flat. And then when you're on Reta, you don't eat so much, and you know, so you don't store so much glycogen, unfortunately. All right, next one. OG Andrews, new member. Man, my mouth is really dry. Must be from all the weed that I smoked. Yeah, right. Master, oh yeah, I like that. Yeah, Master Steve. Upping test annotate from 300 to 600 milligrams per week. That's what I did. Daily shots, that's what I do. Arimidex at 300 micrograms, 50 micrograms 6 times a week. Man, that's really low. You get liquid Arimidex. Still too low for estradiol ultrasensitive test. Falls between 65 to 70 micrograms per milliliter. Should I up the AI to 1.2 milligrams, 600 tests? And that seems quite low. Yeah, or you could switch to Aromasin. It's a suicide inhibitor. So Arimidex just goes into the aromatase enzyme, blocks it temporarily, and then as it dissociates from the aromatase enzyme, it gets metabolized or it goes to another aromatase enzyme. And then in the meantime, when the aromatase enzyme is empty, testosterone goes in and converts into nandrolone and then estradiol. But if you use Arimidex, it gets stuck. And it doesn't go away until the entire enzyme plus the Arimidex or plus the Aromasin is metabolized out. So maybe you need to go to 6.25 milligrams Aromasin 3 times a week. How much do I use? I think like half a milligram, 12.5 milligrams Aromasin 3 times per week for 600 tests, 600 Deca, and 250 Anadrol. It's probably way too low, but time will tell. And I already had my gyno surgery, so it's not coming back. Nah, it's good. Keep touching my nipples. It's off screen. So excited. So yeah, I'll do my blood work tomorrow, and then let's see how bad it is or how good it is. But I can always up the dose. So in your case, I would start with maybe, since you're taking such a low dose and you're getting about 70 picograms per milliliter on an ultra-sensitive test, I would go to 6.25 milligrams Aromasin 3 times a week, run that for 4 weeks, and then check your blood work again and keep the testosterone the same, obviously, because otherwise, those fluctuations are going to affect your estradiol levels. Duad Mayer. Hey, Steve, my dad's blood work came back with elevated lymphocyte count, white blood cells count, serum ferritin, and erythrocyte sedimentation. Are they linked to anything, and how would you fix it? Sounds like an infection to me, but that's not what I'm specialized in. Increased serum ferritin could indicate inflammation. Increased white blood cell count could also increase or indicate inflammation. And elevated lymphocyte could be from an infection. So discuss this with a specialist. It's not really steroid related, or unless your dad is on steroids and he's running a dirty underground lab that is giving him an infection. But this is what the doctors are for, right? You can send me 10 pounds all you want, but this is not what I'm specialized in. So please consult with a doctor. Run the blood work past them, bring your dad, have him explain any kind of symptoms that he might have, and then they are specialized in diagnosing him, which I am not. So, good luck. Steve, miss you at the Mr. Olympia. Hopefully see you at the Arnold. Yeah, that's the plan. I already looked at flights. Now, the problem is, there's no real direct flights from Bangkok to Columbus. So I would have to either get... I know you go with Korean Air, and then the last segment is covered by Delta. I don't really like Delta. I like United. But then I couldn't really find good flights with United either. So what I probably do is, 2 days before I fly from Bangkok to Las Vegas, stay there for a night, hang out with Aaron for a night, kind of break up the flight because it's already 23 hours to get into Vegas. Stay there for a night, get rid of the water retention and the bloating because I'll fly business, right? And that means no fasting because business class has good food and I'm going to have to eat that shit. You're spending thousands of dollars, so I'm going to get the fucking champagne as soon as I enter the plane. Fuck my life, but I'm going to go for it. So break up the day at Las Vegas, maybe go to Sapphire. No. Break up the day there. If you know, you know. And then the next day fly to either Detroit or Chicago and then to Columbus because apparently America does not have direct flights from Vegas to Columbus. So you have to stop over somewhere. So I have to stop over in Korea or Japan on the way to Vegas. And then that will be a stopover. And then another stopover in Detroit or Chicago before you go to Columbus. And then go to the expo for 3 days because, I'm sure Chase would want me at his booth for 3 days. So somebody bring me the nootropics or the Adderall so I can stand on my feet. But yeah, the plan is to go to the Arnold, and I'll pull the plug on stuff, before the end of the month so we get a good deal on a flight. Stalin, on TRT and HCG, pharma HCG is too expensive, so it's running underground lab. Need to switch to underground labs. Is there a way to verify through bloods if it's the same dose, just as effective? Maybe check beta HCG levels. So beta HCG should be around 25, 25. I forgot the concentration, but it should be around 25 on a microgram per deciliter somewhere, or nanograms per deciliter, something like that. Or no, it's milli-IUs per milliliter. Sorry, milli-IUs per milliliter. Beta HCG, LH, and FSH are milli-IUs per milliliter, or IUs per liter. Let me just double check that. Oh, fuck, I have so much blood. I probably won't be able to find it because I haven't used HCG in ages. And the last time I used HCG, I can't remember, so I'd have to do like 24 blood works before I find it. Anyway, the number should be 25, give or take. On 1,000 IUs HCG injected about 1 to 2 hours before you go in for blood work. So if you go with UGL HCG, inject 1,000 IUs intramuscularly, obviously into the shoulder, that seems to absorb the best. And then 1 or 2 hours before you go in for blood work should be around 25. 2 hours is usually a good thing. With GH, you do about 2.5 hours, and then you do 10 IUs growth hormone, and you get about 33 to 36 nanograms per deciliter if it's good shit. Right? And it could come from UGL, growth hormone, or pharma growth hormone. Right? If it's 10 IUs, it's 10 IUs. And if you get half of that, then it's obviously 5 IUs. Or you get 12.5 milli-IUs per milliliter in your HCG test, a beta HCG test, then it's probably 500 IUs when it's labeled as 1,000. But from my experience, all the generic GH right now is trash. It's absolute shit. You know? Yeah, so I explained that already. All right. Benjamin, what's up, bro? I was running 50 milligrams DHEA daily, and after a few weeks in 400 milligrams SLUPP332 daily. Okay, my DHEA blood work increased from 350 to 900. Shall I cut the DHEA? Yeah, in that case, I would cut the DHEA to 25 milligrams. Yeah, that's what I run. I run 25 milligrams DHEA, and then my DHEA is around 450, 500, give or take. So having the DHEA will probably bring it to 450, 500, because you still produce a little bit of DHEA yourself in the adrenals, but you need the supplemental DHEA to top it up. And then you have better cognition and neuronal health and that kind of stuff. Hey, Steve, I just had a tummy tuck with muscle repair a week ago. I'm running a healing protocol, and goddamn, this is doing better than anyone expected. Thanks. Yes, this is exactly what I want to hear. So, when I did my gyno surgery and liposuction and femto-LASIK eye surgery and the leg surgery to get the orthopedic plate removed, I ran the entire healing protocol, which I discussed in the gyno video, obviously. And then I went to the doctor, and she looked at my eyes. She's like, I can't find the incision. She's like looking through the glass. Your incision is healed. I said, yes. She's like, how come? So I eat a lot of protein. And then I went to the for the gyno surgery for the update. I had a little incision here, right, and underneath my nipple, and had bruising all over the place, right? Fucking black and blue and purple and all kinds of colors, dude. My chest and my stomach looked like, I don't know, like a Christmas tree that just was set on fire, basically, and was melting. And I was kind of fat and chunky at that time because I wanted to put on as much chest fat and gynecomastia tissue as I could in a caloric surplus, and I think I accomplished that. So it didn't look nice. And then the incisions were closed. Doctor's like, man, bruising was pretty brutal also. But hey, that's what you do, liposuction, the entire area here. And now it's almost gone, the fat, thank God. So the healing protocols work very, very well, man. And the leg surgery the same. That took a little bit longer to heal. But yeah, I was just doing 1 milligram TB500, BPC 157 twice per day, morning and evening, and Anavar and testosterone and growth hormone and chilling out and playing some video games. And yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. I'm a week out of surgery and fully mobile and independent. Hey, there you go. All right? Don't need no girls to wipe your ass. Dude, I couldn't walk after surgery. My wife was like, so pissed off. I said, babe, can you give me a coffee? Unfortunately, I can't answer this question, buddy, because you're 15. And so you ask, hey, Steve, 15 years natural, Torpec, benching 315. Man, you're fucking strong for 15. 4 days post-surgery, looking to add BPC TB500, debating 2.5 IUs growth hormone versus CGC ipramelon for recovery. Thoughts and organ growth risk. Okay, so you don't have to worry about organ growth risk, but since you're 15, I can't in my right mind recommend you. I can send you in the right direction though, and then you're just going to have to make your own decision. The gyno video, which we just discussed, has an entire stack, and previous videos for the Vigorous Q&A also have an entire stack. So if you want to keep your HPTA intact, that means no testosterone, no anavar, but the peptides don't shut down your HPTA. And I hope I gave you enough information there. But yeah, you're 15, dude. I cannot. So I hope I pointed you in the right direction, and you're going to have to make your own choices. And otherwise, ask your dad to send the super chat and pretend that he's you. And then I can answer it. Steve, do you think that cerebralizing have any efficacy in helping with SSRI withdrawal? No. No, but methylene blue can. Yeah. I remember I stopped the fluvoxamine 50 milligrams per day for a while because I ran out. And I forgot to order, and I didn't run fluvoxamine for like 2 weeks. And I had 0 symptoms because I was on 10 milligrams of methylene blue. So, and I discussed this with a friend of mine as well. His girlfriend stopped, Wellbutrin for a while. And she was running like 3 or 5 milligrams of methylene blue. And I asked, how bad are the brain zaps? And she's like, what brain zaps? You know, it had no side effects because she was running methylene blue. So, again, if you want to come off SSRIs, you need to do it in a tapering fashion. So if you're on 100 milligrams fluvoxamine, for an example, 10% decreases every week or so. So that means like 10 fucking weeks that you're withdrawing. So you go from 100 for a week to 90 for a week to, 81 for a week, right? Or you just do 10 milligram increments. And the 100, 90, 80, 70, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then after a month, 2 months, 2.5 months, 10 weeks, you're pretty much over it. I stopped cold turkey when I went to the United States, the Mr. Olympia. And then after the 2-week mark, I started getting brain zaps, and I had no idea where the fuck I was in the middle of conversations with people. So if I seemed out of it, I was. I was pretty out of it sometimes. So yeah, but I think that cerebralizing in this context might make the withdrawal easier, but it doesn't really seem to affect your serotonin levels. The cerebralizing with some of the ingredients, it affects your brain-derived neurotropic factor, your glial cell line-derived neurotropic factor, and other neurotropic factors. So that might help to restructure your brain in the absence of fluvoxamine, right, or another SSRI, whatever you were running. But if you really want this, the serotonergic, the dopaminergic, and the norepinephrine effects, then methylene blue, by acting as a MAOI inhibitor, monoamine oxidase inhibitor, will keep serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine levels high to the point you don't really get SSRI withdrawal symptoms. So I hope I explained it that way correctly. Josiah, now that you're a daddy, will you be moving from the bike to the trampoline for fasted cardio? I'm 105 kilos now, so I don't think a trampoline is a good idea. I know trampolines are scary, man. I remember we used to have these trampoline parks in Europe, right? And then you go there in summer, you start jumping and jumping and jumping, and then you mistime your jump, and you feel like a jolt from your knees all the way to your neck, through your spine, and then you're laying there on the floor like fuck. And I think honestly, like chiropractors or people who are spine experts, they say that trampolines are probably the worst thing for kids or something like that. So you have those pogo sticks? Are those still a thing? Maybe you can look into that, or just get a fucking Stairmaster, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I'd rather have my kid on an electric bike than on a trampoline, honestly. And where we're going to move in a couple of years from now, it's like a private area. So, you know, there's no street dogs, and the cars are driving slowly, big open road. So I would not mind buying one of those EV cars or bikes for my kids, and then have them drive around that, you know, get them exposed to the lifestyle. And then we'll do like tennis or, you know, some kind of activity to keep their heart rate up. Because, well, trampoline obviously is cardio. But, yeah, motorcycles or bikes, yeah, I don't know, there's better ways to get around. And I do the elliptical for cardio. Hello. Hey, Steve. My name is Steve, too. All right. What's up, Steve? I was wondering if a 12-week cycle of 250 milligrams test is worth it. In Thailand right now, I wanted to run a cycle. Forget about the 12 weeks. Just go on 250 tests and enjoy yourself. You know, I went on 250 test and I did it. I wanted to plan like 12 weeks and then extended it to 16 weeks. And 250 test is like HRT for bodybuilders, you know. So just go and test and enjoy yourself. And then when it's time to add something in, because once you start test, you're going to add other stuff in. So you're going on test, and you're going to look for Anavar and that kind of stuff. And you don't want to use some MOTC and methylene blue. And so it's just you open Pandora's box, and you're not doing a 12-week cycle, man. You're going to stay on forever. So welcome to the club. Mantra Jack. Hey, Steve. Bulking on 500 milligrams testosterone enanthate, 600 milligrams EQ, 400 milligrams nandrolone phenylpropionate, and 4 I use growth hormone. Any peptide to consider as a good ancillary? Dr. Dean mentioned SLU to make him recomp. Chase had a video about Reta all year long. Yeah, it depends on what your goals are, dude. But if you're bulking, then, I mean, the SLU will help you stay leaner. The retatrutide will help with insulin sensitivity, allegedly, but I'm still not convinced that's the retatrutide that does that, or the lack of appetite, controlling your appetite, and thus you don't eat so many calories as you normally would. But yeah, you could try it. 1/4 milligram retatrutide Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or maybe 0.5 milligram Monday, Wednesday, Friday. A low dose that helps with glucagon agonism and insulin sensitivity, but not enough to blunt your appetite to the point you can't eat the food that you need to during a bulk, right? You still need to get those calories in. Honestly, I would just throw in the insulin, dude. Throw in fucking insulin. Eat clean, add some insulin, a long-acting upon waking and a short-acting pre or post-workout, whatever you prefer. Buy the insulin ebook. I explain everything there with how to measure and example diets and how to control your blood glucose levels and how to measure your blood glucose. But in this case, 500 test, 400 Deca, 600 EQ, you might need an aromatase inhibitor. That's 1,500 milligrams steroids. I would increase the GH to 6 IUs, 1 IU of growth hormone for every 250 milligrams of steroids that you run. That seems to offer a good synergistic effect. So 1 gram of steroids is 4 IUs, 1.5 grams is 6 IUs, and 2 grams of steroids is 8 IUs. That's why I'm running 6 IUs right now for about 1.5 grams that I'm running. So that's 6 IUs per day for your weekly steroid dose. All right. So yeah, you can add in 250 micrograms to a milligram of SLU, 1/4 milligram, 0.5 milligram retatrutide 3 times per week. But in your case, I think it's best if you increase the GH to 6 IUs and leverage the insulin to send all that drugs to the right place, or all that food to the right place. Kratos, biggest freak in the chat. Sub 10% body fat. Maintaining body fat in glutes and lower back on 1.7 grams of steroids. Then I use a growth hormone, 6 milligrams retatrutide. Holy shit. Food is an afterthought. Using 20 micrograms of Clen, 1 gram of SLU, 25 milligrams of Yohimbine. How can you run so much Yohimbine, dude? Holy shit. And I think your lower back and your glutes are that watery. They're not fat. You're just using so much Yohimbine that you're literally waterlogged in that area. Please, Kratos, stop the Yohimbine for 2 weeks and let me know how much your lower back and glutes clean up. Should I add 5 milligrams of amino-1-MQ? Yeah, you can add that in later. In your case, I would drop the Yohimbine for 2 weeks. I would go to Anabolic Pharmacist or Modern Aminos. I'm not sure if they have it in stock yet, but Modern Aminos was also producing high-dose SLU capsules. Use my code, obviously. Give me a fucking kickback for recommending you. And then increase the SLU to 100 milligrams, 400 milligrams, whatever you prefer. And then later add in the 5-amino-1-MQ when you're, like, say, 8% body fat. A 5-amino-1-MQ is all the hype right now. I was one of the first to talk about it. Everybody's like, yeah, it's great, it's great, it's great. It works best when your fat metabolism slows down in adipose tissue, and that usually happens around the 6%, 8% body fat mark. So I don't think there's a reason to run it. I'm not running it right now, right? I'm at 10% also, give or take, in the morning. I mean, 600 test, 600 Deca, and 250 Anadrol. You hold a little bit of water, especially with, 6 IUs of growth hormone. Oh, yeah, and I take some insulin post-workout. I forgot to mention it, but yeah, I'm also on insulin, bro. And retatrutide. Shit. I'm on so many drugs I completely forgot, but I don't miss injections. Yeah, and then the SLU really helps with fat loss. It makes fat loss so easy. And of course, the retatrutide controls your appetite really well. So if you're taking 1 milligram per day or 6 times a week, then you don't even need to clean. I would up the SLU, take the Yohimbine out, and then add the 5-amino-1-MQ at 50 milligrams 3 times per day, so 150 milligrams per day, unless you go with injectable. So oral 150 milligrams, and injectable maybe 50 milligrams. It's a little bit more higher bioavailability. You don't want to pin that twice. You don't have to inject that localized. I didn't notice any localized effects from 5-amino-1-MQ, but I do notice localized effects from injectable Helios containing Clen and Yohimbine. So maybe you can source that in the meantime. Some of the affiliates have Helios on their source list. So take the oral Clen and the Yohimbine out for 2 weeks and then start injecting that shit in the places that bother you. And I think that would send you in the right direction. But you're probably just watery as fuck. Because I know I'm about 10% body fat too. I wake up, I touch my lower back, and I'm like, yeah, it looks good. You have like a little skin fold in the morning. And then, dude, at the end of the day, man, like that skin fold that starts sagging and it goes over my pants. And then I'm like, what the and my ass is like flabby at the end of the day. It's disgusting, you know. Thankfully, my wife doesn't fuck me from behind. So she doesn't have to look at it. So, at least from the front, they still look respectable. But from the back, oh, my, don't ask. But yeah, I think that's just water retention. And then the next day, I piss like 3 times a night. And I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm shredded again. I'm leaner than yesterday. But Yohimbine makes you look watery the whole day. So take that shit out. Kid Sidol, longtime fan. What are your thoughts on my wellness clinic proposing HCG monotherapy to treat my low testosterone? 29-year-old male. I've been told by my docs on TikTok, you'll say it's outdated treatment and Canada is behind. I'm also one of the first to talk about HCG monotherapy as a suitable replacement for TRT, or especially enclomiphene, which I'm not really for. Give it a try, man. I have a video on this. It's called Try This Before You Consider TRT, where I discuss HCG monotherapy. You start low, 250 IUs 3 times per week, SubQ. You run it for 1 or 2 weeks, then you increase to 500 IUs, run it for 1 or 2 weeks, again, 3 times per week, then 1,000 IUs, SubQ, 3 times per week for 1 or 2 weeks. And every time you notice a small difference, at one point you'll feel good. You're like, man, I feel really good. I'm strong, and these dumbbells are fucking light, and I'm so horny, and I'm jerking off, and, raging boners the whole day. That's usually the time where you start testing your testosterone levels. And if you have, recombinant HCG in the form of, what is it called? I totally forgot it now. Not Increlex. Well, pharmaceutical HCG, brain freeze. You have the recombinant one that's high potency. You run 1,000 IUs 3 times per week or maybe every single day. Your testosterone levels will be off the charts. Yeah, unless you have testicular atrophy due to varicocele or impaired blood flow or something like that. If you don't feel good after the HCG, either the HCG is fake, you need to tell your clinic, like, hey, what the fuck, give me some recombinant, not this Chinese garbage that's underdosed and not potent. Or you need to do a testicular ultrasound to see if you have a varicocele or necrotic tissue in your testicles, or hydrocele, or something that's structurally issue, which could explain your low testosterone level. And please do some blood work, check your LH and FSH levels as well, because, HCG monotherapy will crush your LH and FSH levels because you're replacing your LH signal with HCG. Your testosterone goes up, your estrogen goes up, and then the pituitary is like, fuck you, bro. You're supplementing. I'm not going to do shit anymore. Now, LH and FSH goes to 0. HCG sustains your testicular function and your fertility parameters, but it's never the same as, even though testosterone goes up, the fertility parameters on HCG monotherapy are generally not as good on compared to endogenous LH and FSH, assuming that endogenous FSH and LH were high enough for good fertility. Because, with HCG monotherapy, your FSH is 0, and you need FSH for spermatogenesis. So, yeah. No, otherwise you can add in the FSH, but you're shelling out a lot of money, man. FSH is expensive. Follow-up. What's the ideal estrogen range for dropping last bits of fat? Dropped from 116 to 13 using EQ. Libido is gone, so I wanted to raise it but not sure. I think anything below 25 is good for fat loss, but if you're 10%, then you don't need to crush your estrogen yet. So if you're 10%, right? So I would just keep it at 40, 50 picograms per milliliter. I think mine at 10% body fat is like 50 to 75, give or take, or that's how I feel that it is. But again, blood work tomorrow, so fingers crossed it's not too high. Yeah, I would keep it like top of the reference range until you're like 5% body fat, and then it really starts to matter regarding water retention and the last little bit of fat. But 5 amino 1Q, 6 to 8% body fat, that's when it's useful. Dropping your estrogen, that's for the last little bit of fat. You need estrogen for your lipids, for insulin sensitivity, for cognition, well-being, libido, obviously, and lipid management and cardiovascular health. So don't drop it too early, because you'll get the fat off anyway, and dropping your estrogen and maybe even dropping the testosterone is like the ditch effort to get your skin thin and your body fat levels super, super low. So, and then obviously if you drop your test, you don't need an aromatase inhibitor to crush your estrogen, because what is there to convert into estradiol? DHEA? Give me a break. All right, just answered that one. Zionic, welcome back, bro. Going back to a bolus retroglutathione dose. Oh, you got bamboozled by the fake doctor on Instagram? So funny how people pivot, They see one TikTok short or they see one Instagram short, and then the guy looks like Wes Watson, talks with super conviction, and then everybody's it's in my inbox like, what do you think about bolus dosages? How about you use your own fucking brain, Well, it's fine. Been at 5 milligrams per week, 2 grams, 2 milligrams, 1.5 milligram, 1.5 milligram Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I would do the 2 milligrams on Friday because you're bridging 2 days over the weekend. But hey, whatever. What dose would you do to start? Like once every 5 hours? Just stay on the same thing, man. Been on retatrutide for 62 weeks currently. If you need more appetite suppression, go to 1 milligram per day. But the bolus dose, most people that I know that do bolus dose, they get nausea and side effects like car sickness. And I experienced the same thing when I did 2 milligrams semaglutide in one shot. Dude, I couldn't sit in a taxi. I felt nauseous doing heavy leg days, or chest-supported rows or things, on my chest, which, bedtime activities, right? If you get pounded from behind and stuff. Not me, but you guys know the reverse cowgirl position. And it's also a little bit on your stomach. The last thing you want to be is nauseous during sex. So I don't believe in the bolus dosages. Yes, the scientific evidence is bolus dosages. Why? Why? Because doctors understand that people are too scared to inject, so they offer that as a service, or they don't want to inject too often themselves. That's why we have Libido and Cystanon, 1 injection every 12 weeks, or Cystanon, 1 injection every 2 weeks. But we know in the bodybuilding space that microdosing anything, testosterone, propionate, cypionate, Libido, whatever, works better. And you can go into the pharmacokinetics and the pharmacodynamics. It has 144-hour half-life, 6-day half-life. Well, testosterone has a long half-life too. It works better if you inject it every single day. And androgen receptors don't have a 6-day or 8-day or 12-day or 30-day half-life. Neither does GLP-1, GIP, or glucagon. I think GLP-1 is 10 hours, GIP 20 hours, and glucagon 30 hours. Give a ballpark, right? I don't know off the top of my head, but it's. I think glucagon is 30 hours and the rest is shorter. So if a drug is 144-hour half-life or 6-day half-life, it's going to attach to the glucagon receptors and the GLP-1 receptors and the GIP receptors, does its downward thing, right? And you don't know how long the protein expression lasts. So that receptor is then utilized and gone, or disassociates and something else attaches, maybe actual GLP-1 or actual GIP or actual glucagon attaches to that receptor until it's metabolized from the body. So it doesn't matter if you do this or this. The downward signaling is of a shorter duration, really. And if you have 1 million glucagon receptors and you hit it with 2 million molecules of retatrutide in the bolus shot, where the other 1 million molecules are going to go? These drugs are designed for injection convenience, not for pharmacodynamics. So, anyway, Right? There's guys with real followers and fake followers, and there's guys that impersonate and originate. Please stick to the tried and proven sources of information, guys, that have been here for a long time and are respected among their peers. And don't pivot too fast, dude, when you see one guy yelling at the camera. For training recovery, TB500, BPC, or something else, I think don't use steroids. Use these drugs when you have an injury. Think delayed onset of muscle soreness. I would look into baking soda, aka sodium bicarbonate, or citrulline malate to help clear off the lactate or lactic acid, however you want to call it. TB500 BBC 157 is good, but you can also create hypoxia in your muscles by training fucking hard, and then you increase vascular endothelial growth factor and angiogenesis that way. So, all right, one more sip of the hydro. Also, guys, if you see people say that they're doctors, ask them what they're doctoring and ask for their medical license. If you're a medical doctor, you should have a medical license. If you're a chiropractor, you can call yourself a doctor, but it's a little bit false advertisement, right? So, guys, please. There's plenty of guys hiding behind their doctorate and PhDs. PhDs might be shit. The doctorate might not be what the doctor is, and I'll be the first one to say I wasted 4 or 5 years of my life going to university. I don't hold it above my head like I have a degree too. You know, everything I know is self-taught. Do I make mistakes? Sure. All right. Can you guys find the same information on Instagram and or on Google and PubMed and Perplexity and Science Direct and whatever? Sure, you can, but you know, I just put it together better than most people. But I'm not going to hold some special title above your head like I'm some sort of voice of authority like other people do. I'm a doctor. Listen to me. I have a PhD. Listen to me. And then you read the PhD and it's full with spelling mistakes. Do better, guys. Anyway, Guilherme Morales. Long name, unpronounceable. Down 110 pounds from 310 to 200. Wow, that's a big change. It's a 30% drop, just almost as much as Bitcoin, bro. You dropped more than Bitcoin in a week. Goes 180 pounds, so you have 20 pounds to lose. On TRT, 200 milligrams. Retitrutide, L-carnitine, clenbuterol. Gained lean mass, but afraid to lose it in the last 20 pounds. Added Primo Masteron, bump up the test to hold muscle. I do cardio every day, workout 4 times a week. I would just bump up the test to 3 IUs or to 300 milligrams, add in a little bit of growth hormone, and keep going, man. Keep going. Masteron and Primo is hard to find right now. If you have a legit source, feel free to add in 200 milligrams of Masteron or Primo. I prefer Primo Ball, and it seems to be more anabolic, in my opinion. Again, scientific evidence is a little bit thin regarding anabolism on Primo and Masteron because it's only been studied in the context of breast cancer. You know, so you could go to 300 tests or 400 tests even. But, dude, I think if you lose 20 pounds, you're not going to lose any lean mass because it's only a 10% drop in body weight. You could do that in 2 months. And in the 2 months diet, your strength should stay sustained. So I think if you're worried, 300 tests, drop to 20 pounds, and then drop to 200 tests again, then you'll probably drop to 175. A little bit of water retention, it goes away, and then start increasing your calories to build some more mass, you know? But don't worry about it, dude. If anything, you look better, even if you look leaner. You drop 20 more pounds, you just look bigger, you know? I look bigger now, too, but I lost 20 pounds also. Let's see. 2, is HCG enough to backfill Pregnenolone? It was low in labs. For some people it is, and some people it isn't. I'll be using it during a hip and elbow scope recovery. I'm 25. I responded great to enclomiphene I did for a month. Yeah, so some people see an increase in Pregnenolone and DHEA on HCG, and some people don't. So I noticed that HCG increased my DHEA a little bit, but not my Pregnenolone. And my Pregnenolone levels and progesterone levels actually went up by going on a mitochondrial support stack, because if you upregulate mitochondrial function, the production of Pregnenolone goes up as well. Yes, Pregnenolone is produced in the mitochondria. So a lot of guys that have androgen deficiency or neurosteroid deficiency might also have mitochondrial, how do you call this? A problem with your mitochondria? You know, mitochondrial toxicity or something like that. And HCG is not something that addresses that. So try it, see what happens. Or go on MOTC and SS31 and methylene blue and SLUPP332, which all upregulate mitochondrial function. And then your pregnenolone and progesterone levels should come up slightly. And if that's still not enough, then well, you have supplemental pregnenolone. You get the 25 milligram tablets, you break it in half. You take half a tablet, 12.5 milligrams, or 10 milligram tablets, and then start there. Any word of when Primo is going to be available again? I have no idea, dude. I'm not a source. And I ask these sources, how's it going? And say, oh, can't find it. And apparently other sources can find it, so it really depends on your hookup. I mean, I have Primo at home, plenty. But, yeah, I bought that years ago, you know. Game Theory Optimal, welcome to the Vigorous crew. Question right away. Hey, Steve, I'm a urologist in the U.S. Why would you name yourself Game Theory? But hey, that's fine. Regarding HCG, one way to check the HCG dose is adequate is by checking 17-hydroxyprogesterone. Yeah, but unfortunately, that's not available everywhere. And still, that's individual response. This is a surrogate for intratesticular testosterone. Yeah, but it's still... I prefer beta-HCG because it's a little bit easier to time. And of course, if you inject HCG, you need that downward signaling of 17-hydroxyprogesterone and testosterone levels, obviously. And it could take some time to really come up. So I prefer beta-HCG. You can time that 2 hours before the injection, right? You inject your HCG, and then you check your beta-HCG levels, which is a metabolite or the beta subunit of HCG. And then the 70-hydroxyprogesterone and the testosterone and the estradiol. It might take a little bit longer than the testing of 1,000 IUs HCG can facilitate. You would need to be on HCG for, let's say, 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks, ideally, before you really see a dramatic change in your hormone levels. Whereas one shot of 1,000 IUs HCG, you can easily test your beta HCG levels. So it's same with growth hormone, right? You can check your actual growth hormone if you time it the correct way, or the downstream hormone being IGF-1, but then you're still dependent on your liver health and how much you individually secrete. Because growth hormone is obviously a IGF-1 insulin-like growth factor 1 secretagogue, but not everybody secretes IGF-1 in the same level. So you'd rather test your growth hormone levels instead of your IGF-1, because plenty of guys don't produce so much IGF-1. So you're going on 10 AU's growth hormone for a week, and you expect your IGF-1 levels to be undetectably high and over the reference range, but it might not always be the case. And then if you don't do the serum testing of growth hormone, then you might think that your growth hormone's bunk, where in reality your liver is just non-compliant and tells you to go fuck yourself. You know? Hey, coach, 200 milligrams test, 100 primo TRT TRT plus per week, added in 50 milligrams NPP for the joints and tendons, but reduced to 30 since it made me lose sex drive. 50 milligrams made you lose sex drive? Are you sure? Could I add in 30 milligrams Tren now and then skip the NPP before? Any other advice? I know, I would stay on 30 milligrams NPP for like 4 to 6 weeks, and maybe the sex drive loss caused by something else. Maybe stress, maybe a lack of healthy dietary fats, maybe your calories are too low, maybe you're stressed, maybe you're not sleeping enough, maybe you need to add in the HCG. I don't think that 30 milligrams or 50 milligrams NPP is making you lose drive or sex drive. So Trembolone will increase your sex drive and overall drive. But now, Tren cannot replace Nandrolone regarding joints and tendons. But fuck, at 50 or 30 milligrams per week, I think Tren will probably do more for your connective tissue than a slow amount of NPP. Or you do like me, you combine both. I'm on Deca and then going to add in the Tren, and I can tolerate it. But not everybody's the same as me. So, chill. 6'5", 25-year-old male, just finished my first cycle. I cut down from 245 pounds to 209 pounds using tuner test, 150 primo, 50 anavar per day. 50 anavar per week or per day? Richard planning next cycle, test 300 anavar 20 per day probably. Tren 30 milligrams per week, primo 3. I like it. Orals is like per day and injectables is per week. It's so confusing. Tren 30, primo 300. What do you think? Love you, bro. It sounds fine to me, man. It sounds fine to me. It's more steroids, obviously. And are you going to cut or are you going to bulk? Because you can bulk on 200 tests, 150 primo, and 10 anavar per day, and a low dose of retatrutide, and then you can cut on more the cycle that you planned. So, but if you already cut down to 209 pounds, I'm assuming that you want to bulk, and I would rather bulk on less steroids because You don't have to compensate for low calories because you're on high calories, obviously. And some people might not agree. So we do high steroids and high food, and they're bloated water messes during the off season. That's fine. High blood pressure, 80 milligrams telbasartan. Let's go. So everybody has their own ideas like that sense. But yeah, it sounds fine to me, man. It sounds like a lot for a second cycle, though. So maybe you start with 200 test, 200 primo. You run it for 8 weeks, and then you increase to 300 test, 300 primo. You run it for 8 weeks, and then you throw in the Anabolic and the Tren the last 8 weeks. Then you have a nice 24-week cycle with slow increments to make you keep gaining, assuming that you keep increasing the food as well. Oh man, I'm 30 minutes behind. No, I meant HCG. Sorry, GH is pretty okay, but underground HCG is crap. Yeah, so HCG is crap and HGH is okay. SCOBs. There's money, but not a question. Is this you? Well, I'll take your money, bro. I don't see your question. Also discussed injectable SLU last week. I found out the hard way they use DMSO. Got an early sterile abscess. Am I right? Glute supplier confirmed it too. Went in the trash. Yeah, I wouldn't inject DMSO, man. I mean, if you want to help, if you want to rub it on your knees for some arthritis, sure, but just take powder, man. The oral bioavailability is fine. You need to inject everything. Fuck, man. If you want to be a junkie, it's fine. Conrad Graff, I'm heading to Thailand soon for my holiday. Do you see better test E being faked over there? No. Any particular pharmacy that carries that you would recommend there? Yes, but we don't discuss that publicly. So go to the entertainment areas. You can easily find Bayer. So you go to Nana or Siloam or some of the other entertainment areas. Soy Cowboy. There's pharmacies there that sell steroids, and you just ask for Bayer testosterone. If it comes from the counter where you can clearly see it, then it's not faked. I haven't seen any fake Bayer testosterone annotate or Bayer or Rimabolin faked here. The Underground Labs scene is a little bit trashy, but, Sorry, Steve, I meant 15 years is natural. Yeah, but bro, you're too young, dude, for advice about drugs. I'd be risking my career. I don't want to get advice to 15 years old about drugs. So you're going to have to do research yourself. What's up, bro? Welcome to the Vigorous crew. T3. Dude, like this, I don't know. It's below the reference range, in range. I would need to see the ranges, and your thyroid stimulating hormone is also a little bit low. But you're taking 4 IU's growth hormone, 25 micrograms T4. Yeah, on that much growth hormone, personally, I would recommend 100 micrograms T4. Because T3 and T4, free T3, it's okay. So your thyroid binding globulins are good, but your your thyroid binding globulins might be low. I know this is a little bit hard to decipher, man. But I would, based on what you're using, I would increase it to 100 micrograms T3. That goes well for most people. For training recovery, dude, I already answered this question. Please don't do it twice. It pisses me the fuck off. Hello, Steve. I'm doing my first show with my son in 4 weeks. He's 26-year-old athlete with Down syndrome. Okay. His total testosterone came back at 300. He wants, if we wanted to do TRT, anything. Guys, I can't answer this. Please don't do this, man. Don't do this to me. I'm not familiar with a condition like that. So how in the right mind, like we have shit educators that would answer this no problem, right? They can cure cancer, and they were the first ones to find SLU, even though it's been around for 1 year or 2 years. We've got shitfluencers like this who would happily answer a question like this, but I don't feel comfortable discussing for old people with Parkinson's disease or young people with Down syndrome. I don't feel comfortable answering those questions. So please stop asking. Right? If you're 15, you want to use drugs, fine. You have to figure it out by yourself. I don't feel comfortable answering those questions. If your son has Down syndrome, I can't answer that question, man. It's a medical condition that I'm not familiar with. I recommend steroids, right, or make steroid recommendations to people who are healthy, because that's what I worked with my entire life. I'm healthy, or as healthy as can be on steroids, but I would never accept somebody like, with Down syndrome or diabetes or whatever as a client, because I'm not a doctor. You guys have to understand that I'm not a doctor. So please, stop asking. Please. It's unacceptable. Hey, Steve. Cytochrome 3A4, cytochrome P453A4 inhibition. Is it better to use red ruby grapefruit for bergamottin or naringenin supplements, trying to up the anabolism of the injectable? I'm not really sure how much bergamottin or naringenin is in red ruby grapefruits. I mean, it's all listed that it's contained within. I might have been able to find it out and listed it in one of the deep dives, but off the top of my head, I can't remember how much bergamottin, naringenin, or naringin are contained within a red ruby grapefruit. And within a naringin supplement, like what a Gorilla Mind is one supplement called AMA2 lean or something like that, has an naringin, so that prevents the cytochrome P453A4 breakdown of certain hormones, including testosterone and other steroids and medications, obviously. There you actually know the milligram dose. So I would try half a grapefruit and then a whole grapefruit, and then switch to the supplements. Take 1 serving, 2 servings, and see what you like the most. Right? You have to figure it out for yourself, because you don't know how many cytochrome 3A4 enzymes you produce and how much drugs you take. Like I get some inhibition from the fluvoxamine. It's also a cytochrome P450 3A4 enzyme inhibitor. But how much benefits I get regarding my steroids, I don't know. I'm still on fucking 1.5 grams right now. So how much the inhibition is not that potent. Otherwise, I would run 500 milligrams and blow the fuck up. Sensei Steve, cut from 126 kilograms down to 79 kilograms, 6 to 8% body fat, doing keto, reticulocyte, and steroids, obviously. I've watched your keto diet video. Any extra thoughts for a keto off-season diet? Currently running 375 milligrams Sustanon, 375 milligrams Primo, 25 milligrams Tren weekly. In that case, I would just add a little bit more fruit post-workout and slowly start increasing the fats. If you're trying to reverse diet, and then you do that every 2 to 4 weeks, you have a slight caloric increase of 10%. Right? I mean, 126 kilograms to 79 kilograms is a huge fucking difference. I mean, it's like almost half your body weight. So you have to be really, really careful. So first, I would increase the fats a little bit, keep the reticulocyte in there to suppress your appetite. Don't come off of that shit. Because the vengeance of appetite will be absolutely crazy. So be careful in that sense. And then keep the cycle the same, and then slowly start increasing the food until you increase your calories to 3,500. And then you can slowly start taking the reticulocyte out and the steroids out. Now, you can't stay on Tren forever, obviously, so maybe take the Tren out at one point. You don't need that to stay lean. I would rather run SLU PP332 to stay lean and take the Tren out. And then you go from 375 Sust and 375 Primo to 300 and then 200. And then you take the Primo out and then you cruise on TRT for a while until all your blood work parameters stay healthy. And then hopefully by the time you're about 85, 90 kilos, still lean, 8% body fat with a good amount of muscle. So again, you diet down slowly and you reverse diet slowly. And as the calories go up, when you feel more comfortable with the food volume and your appetite, then you can start phasing out the drugs. Because again, you can't stay on this much steroids and the fat burners indefinitely. Chase is in the chat. Sorry I'm so late, Chase. We're catching up on fucking questions. I'm looking forward to it. So I looked into some options for flights and probably a stopover in Vegas. And then flying with United, hopefully, to Columbus, Ohio. And bring a jacket, because I'm sure it's going to be cold. Mr. Steve, from your experience, what would be the max body fat percentage to experience the benefits of oral Winstrol? I would say below 8%. Yeah, below 8%. Yeah. Hey, boss. Let's see. Rob Karras. Hey, boss. Going to start TRT at 100 milligram cypionate. Going to try some CHC with it. Anything else you would advise to add to the testosterone? My SHBG is 6 on TRT or off it. That's very low. How's your thyroid hormones? How's your estrogen? SHBG is 6. Honestly, dude, I would do 50 milligrams testosterone cypionate Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 250 hours HCG Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and go on growth hormone. Check your estrogen levels to see if you need an aromatase inhibitor. That might be better. But yeah, growth hormone and testosterone can lower your SHBG, as does insulin. HCG can increase your SHBG because it increases estrogen. And thyroid hormones can also increase your SHBG. So maybe your thyroid hormones are low also. Maybe you need replacement there as well. But I would need to see your blood work, obviously. And 100 milligrams of SIP sounds so low, man. It sounds like punishment from a female TRT clinic. And we're just going to give him enough. Just going to give him enough. Have you thought about... have your thoughts on IGF-1 LR3 changed in the recent years? Dude, I have access to Increlex, man. Why the fuck would I use IGF-1 LR3? So no, I see you mention it more like there's a revival. Dude, there's revivals on everything all the time. So use it. I would use a vial per day. Not this 100 microgram bullshit. Just use a vial per day, see how you like it. If your wallet likes it, if your gains like it, inject it locally, pre-workout, bilaterally. So if you train chest, 500 micrograms, go train your chest. You should have a fucking nice pump. A fucking nice pump. And you know, unfortunately, IGF-1 LR3 barely detects on your IGF-1 testing on your blood work. So, you know. You know, it's... I prefer Increlex, but this is the next best thing if you can get Increlex. But high-dose growth hormone will raise your IGF-1 levels more than any kind of injectable Increlex or IGF-1. You just don't get the localized effects because it gets produced in the liver and you have the binding proteins that bind it up and then deliver it to tissue that you can't choose. But if you inject it in the free form without the binding proteins directly into the muscle that you're going to train, pumps galore, man. Pumps galore. You know, emoji is 25 minutes. I don't even know what you're laughing about. Which androgens are likely to be the strongest for bone animalism? Off the top of my head, testosterone, nandrolone, and was it the anabol? And anything that raises estradiol, basically. Anything that increases aromatization. I can't remember if ment, like tristolone, had anything about bone metabolism or bone markers. If it does, I probably mentioned it in the Ment Deep Dive, which is on the channel. I mean, ment tristolone converts into 7-alpha-methyl estradiol, but any androgen that converts into estradiol, so that's testosterone, nandrolone, dianabol methyl estradiol, and tristolone, 7-alpha-methyl estradiol, and then maybe boldenone converting into estrone, converting into estradiol, but it also acts as an aromatase inhibitor, and some of its metabolites does as well, which lower estradiol, which affects bone metabolism or bone animalism. Yeah, and then you have your vitamin K, you have your magnesium, you have your phosphorus and your calcium and your vitamin D3, and then you have the golden triangle on bone metabolism. How much time pre-workout you take Anadrol and Anavar? If I take it sublingually, it's like 10 minutes before. If I take it orally, it's about an hour before. Yeah. Let's see. I'm pivoting because my progress has not been what it was when I was on a bolus. Yeah, then maybe it's time to switch to tirzepatide. I mean, erythritide is the least potent regarding appetite suppression. That's why a lot of guys end up at 1 milligram per day. After they run it for months, and then they have to switch to tirzepatide. They go to 1 milligram 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they get better appetite suppression. So maybe it's just time to switch to tirzepatide. I mean, the glucagon benefits are obviously noticeable, but you know, if you can't get the appetite suppression and you can't follow your diet anymore, then taking more and more and more is not the solution. You just switch to a compound that's more potent. So I would look into tirzepatide. Like if I were to run up retatrutide at 1.1 milligram per day, right? And then I notice that the appetite is no longer in control, then I would not do 7 milligrams 1 time per week to get that bolus shot, because then I'd be fucking nauseous the first couple of days, and then the appetite suppression would wear off the last couple of days, and then by the time a Sunday hits, I'm ravenously hungry, and I eat way more than I should, you know, because the blood sugar fluctuations and the roller coaster is just in motion, and then I don't want to stop for that day, and then I have to go through the nausea again. So I would rather pivot into tirzepatide in that case, and then start at half the dose, 1 milligram 3 times per week, or half a milligram once per day, whatever you prefer, and then take it from there, you know. Tirzepatide for appetite suppression is just more potent, but maybe not as potent for fat loss. But in the end, most of the fat loss comes from activity and caloric restriction. And these fat burners, besides maybe DNP, are just a cherry on top. Yeah, so Joshua, like cytochrome 3, P453A, 4 enzyme suppression with grapefruit and naringenin, and bergamotin or fluvoxamine or something else also delays other medications using this pathway. So you can't selectively reduce the metabolism of steroids. You also reduce the metabolism of other drugs. So yeah, proceed with cautions. All right, here we go. Adam, Steve, just wanted to catch you on the Q&A to say thanks. After 6 months of fertility protocol 1.1, okay. My wife is now pregnant, so he didn't come off TRT. He just used TRT and HCG, right? If I remember that correctly. Been trying for close to 2 years, so thank you. Okay, I heard Steve, that is a cool name. Or Stephanie, right? And otherwise, I hope that you thought about me for a couple pumps, you know. Well, you try to get your wife pregnant. I'm happy, dude. I get so many messages like this, and honestly, having a daughter and having 2 more embryos, it's the best thing ever. This is like the happiest period of my life, also because I'm not working a lot. People are like, Steve, when are the videos coming back? I'm having too much fun, man. Dude, it's like your wife's now pregnant, right? And then she starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And then she gives birth, and you have this little tiny human that's yours, and it can't do anything. It's completely useless. Right? All it can do is cry, and then you have to decipher what the cry is about. So after a while, same as with pets. If you have pets, you understand this. Pets have like certain traits or gestures or movements or meows or barks where you know, like, they're hungry or they want pets or they want attention or they want to go outside, and you know, right? They have a little mannerisms. And the babies will get like little mannerisms as well, where you're like, she's hungry before she starts crying, right? Or she's uncomfortable in the diaper, you got to change that, or you know, she wants to sleep, right? So it's like a little puzzle that you have to figure out, and then at the 3-month mark, you start getting some laughs and some cooing and some gagas and some response back and forth, and then you're sold on this whole thing, man. I come down, my wife's here, she's holding the baby, and she's like, hey, daddy's here. And I'm like, hey, good morning, Jadzia. And she's like, hey, you know, like a little baby, obviously. She's like, oh, daddy is here. And then you get that response, it's like, just fucking melts your heart. It's the best thing ever. So good luck. Yeah, if she's now pregnant, then obviously you pass the 3-month mark for you to feel comfortable to talk about it. So 6 months from now, and then plus 3, right? At 3 months, it really starts to get fun. Then, or 2.5 months. Then, yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Next year, March, you're going to know exactly what I talk about. Yeah, best shit ever. The recovery question was then related to lactic acid. I'm saying that I want to work out more often, so recovery, muscle soreness. And then you need to eat more food and take more drugs. BBC and TB500 is not going to do that for you, buddy. I mean, at most, you'll create some angiogenesis. But regarding recovery and muscle soreness, I don't think it does much. I mean, if you want to recover an injury, but then all these other growth factors are in play as well, and including inflammation. So you can give it a try, but more steroids, more food if you want to train more often. And then there's still diminishing returns because you can only train so much. Right? Yeah, recoverable volume, blah, 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 blah. For all the fancy, you know, evidence-based lifters. Completely took the joy away of lifting. And I see all these kids doing their evidence-based lifting and they're not having fun. Steve, how do you get so big? I train heavy and I eat a lot of food and I take some drugs, you know. And sometimes I take more drugs than other times, but I still eat the good food and I still train hard whether I take drugs or not. So that's why I still look pretty okay when I was off the drugs, even though I was light, 90 kilos, 92 kilos, pretty light for me. I still ate the food and still did the heavy lifting and I still look pretty okay. Josiah, been wanting to run Mod C. I use methylene blue daily. Will the MPK activation not negate the anabolism I need for recovery? No. Fuck, relax, man. You're taking microdosages here. No. Is it worth for fat loss glucagon in before fasted? Is it worth it for fat loss to use glucagon before fasted cardio? Yes. If using tirzepatide because reticulocyte suppression is not enough. Yeah, so that's what I did. That's before reticulocyte hit the market and these studies became available. I used tirzepatide with glucagon and got phenomenal fat loss. And I told people, once reticulocyte really becomes available and affordable, it's going to make a big difference. What I did not expect is that reticulocyte is not as potent for appetite suppression as tirzepatide on a milligram for milligram basis. So at most, I would be able to run 3 milligrams tirzepatide, but I don't think I'd have a problem with 7 milligrams reticulocyte per week. Again, you know, the glucagon and the GIP agonism is not as great, you know, on the receptor side compared to actual GIP and glucagon. And I think the signaling for tirzepatide is a lot higher, you know, if I remember correctly doing the research months ago. So if you were able to run 1 milligram tirzepatide 3 times per week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and 1 milligram glucagon pre-fasted cardio or half a milligram pre-fasted cardio, I think you get much better fat loss and much better appetite suppression. And your wallet will not be happy because glucagon hypo kits are fucking expensive, man. That's like $15 to $70 depending on where you source it per shot. Let me check what is the prices on AP. See if we can find it. Of course, Google is not going to give me there. Oh, Google. You piece of shit. Let's see. Glucagon. I only get reticulocyte. I thought I just indexed one of their... Oh, 1 second. Now I need to know. Let me go to my own fucking source list, which I just updated. Well, it's going to have to load a bit. It's like 2,000 products in there. Give me a second. And it's really slow. Fucking WordPress. All right. Adam Cameron. All right, here it is. Steve, I just wanted to get you... Okay, so, yeah, I saw your question already, but I'm a little bit slow. So thanks for the 25 Canadian dollars. Holy shit. I can at least buy a cheesecake from that. And again, congratulations, bro. I'm happy for you. Next year, March, you know exactly what I'm talking about. New member. Antioch. Alda, look at that beautiful profile picture. But she's 40 years old. I don't think your profile picture are the same as you, but that's okay. Let's see, glucagon. It's finally loaded. 1 second, I'll answer your question in a bit after we figure out the price of a glucagon hypo kit. AP sells it for like $73 for 1 milligram. And 24 sells it for $74. Yeah. Now, there are places where you can get it for like $17. But I don't have affiliate codes with those, and I don't know which sites they are. So, yeah, it's glucagon is kind of expensive. So, $75, you can also get like at least a whole vial of reticulocyte, which you can use at least 10 injections. Hey Steve, 40 years old, been on reticulocyte since July, plus the mitochondrial support stack, down from 335 pounds to 275. Yeah, you're definitely betting with that picture, girl. But sleep has been very inconsistent. With 2 I use GH before bed be acceptable for the added fat loss and sleep benefit. Yeah, but GH2 I use a poor sleep, sleep aid. I have a 4 or 5 part video about how to sleep. So erythritol obviously can increase your resting heart rate, which can keep you awake. Maybe you're taking too many stimulants. Maybe caffeine too late. Maybe you need a CPAP machine. Right? This body weight level is obviously very prone to sleep apnea. So maybe that is the problem why your sleep has been inconsistent. So please just watch that 4-parter, 5-parter deep sleep deep dive video that's on the channel, and I have clips on the clip channel of that as well. Those are all indexed already. And then figure out what the problem is. But yeah, GH and erythritol together, that's a good fat loss stack, but I don't think it's going to improve your sleep quality that much. I think you need to kind of self-diagnose what's going on and then find a proper solution, which I offer in that video series. Thoughts on 100 milligrams test SIP, 50 milligrams Masteron, 50 milligrams Recadically as a long-term TRT protocol, safe to run year-round if blood work looks good. Yeah, I'm not against it. I would run 100 milligrams test SIP, 100 milligrams Primo, and 50 milligrams Deca. And if you can get Masteron or Primo, right, it depends on you. 50 milligrams Masteron seems a little bit low. I would run 100 milligrams Primo, yeah. Because if Masteron is there as an aromatase inhibitor and is a little bit of a cosmetic aid, then it might not be enough to keep your estrogen suppressed on 100 tests and 50 milligrams Deca. That's 150 milligrams aromatizable compounds. So 100 milligrams Primo should cover you because 150 milligrams Deca, or 100 tests and 100... My God, man, it's late. Nootropics are wearing off. Man, I still got an hour to go. Holy shit. 100 tests, 50 Deca, 150 milligrams aromatizable compounds. Your estradiol might be 50 to 75 picograms per milliliter. And I don't think that 50 milligrams Masteron is sufficient to suppress that, but 100 milligrams Primo per week should be. Maybe even 100 milligrams of Masteron is not enough. So, again, individual response. Yeah, so, but I'm not against it, man. I'm 30 years old, been trading 15 years natty. Yeah, I don't... sorry, dude. You're going to have to figure it out. That's exactly what a 15-year-old would say. Said the money and not the question. All right, I'm 37, male, 20% body fat, bad experience with TRT, lots of sites, stopped cold turkey 3 months ago, added interzepatide in your mitochondrial support stack, MOTC, 5-amino-1-MQ, SLU, methylene blue, and 2, I use growth hormone, 1, 2, cut fast, minus the test. Okay, so what's the question? And if you can't run tests, but the mitochondrial support stack is helping, then do the cardio, reduce the calories, and let the mitochondrial support stack, the tirzepatide, and everything else do its job. It's just a matter of time. And if you want to cut fast, remember the rebound is going to be hard also. As soon as you start eating, even on tirzepatide, you're just going to rebound hard. So take your time, man. I've been dieting for weeks now, and I just slowly get leaner, and it doesn't really affect me. I still have energy. I still have good libido. I still have good sleep quality. I don't use so much drugs besides the SLU being a mega dose now, but I am self-sacrificing my health for the community as usual. And so far, so good. All right, I'm not falling apart. I did blood work somewhere in the middle, and it looked pretty okay. So I'll include that in the video if I get a chance to make it. But yeah, it's just you need time, man. If you want to go down to 10% from 20%, you're gonna need at least 12 weeks. It sucks, but if you want to do it fast, do 3 hours of cardio per day and don't eat anything. Or just protein and veggies. But the rebound is going to be brutal, and eventually you get stuck. So if you take your sweet time, to get from 20% to 10%, you give yourself 12 to 16 weeks, then the rebound is not going to be there. It's going to be sustainable. You don't feel terrible. Your libido is going to be fine. Your sleep is going to be fine. Your energy levels are going to be fine. You can only lose so much fat without side effects. At any given time. And fat loss slows down the leaner you get. So, Do you still recommend AP? Yes. I had a bad experience and pretty much got scammed out of $700. Wondered if anything has changed. Well, I don't know if you emailed me about your problems, but I can always mediate. So if you have a problem with an affiliate, like I mentioned in the Control F source list, then send me an email and I'll mediate it for you, assuming that you use my discount code and you didn't act like a cunt, because some guys act like total cunts. I've gotten emails saying, this source, this and this and this and this, and you should remove them and blah blah. I don't even reply because some guys are just so heated, so emotional. This is not Amazon. This is not eBay. You're buying illicit drugs. So a little bit of patience and a little bit of common courtesy is advised. But if you didn't send him an email like "go fuck yourself," then I might be able to mediate. Shit happens. And maybe he sent it out and it got stuck in the mail. It's not his fault. That's your government's fault for not letting the package through. Yeah, it didn't arrive. And then you check and it got seized like a month ago. So whose fault is that? He sent it out. You paid. He sent it out. And your customs seized it. Because it's illicit drugs. So what do you expect, bro? There's risk involved. And then don't lose your mind to the source. Because it's not the source's fault. It's your customs. Yeah, not everybody gets it. Microdosing hasn't worked for me lately, even with cagrilintide, adding 300 micrograms every 5 days, going back to a bolus retrospective dose from 5 milligrams split Monday, Wednesday, Friday. What's your ideal dose if I pin once every 5 days? 4 milligrams, 5 milligrams. But if you want to pin every 5 days or 6 days, then I would just do the same dose that you're using now, because you would need to increase the dose. Because you're not getting a dose response, because I don't believe that you're going to get any better response over those 5 days from a bolus injection. So 4 to 5 milligrams. Ignored my question. Did you super chat? Are you a member? Let me have a look. Willie Waldo. I don't see your question, bro. Where is it? You're not a member, so I would need to see some super chat. But I don't see it. So sounds like you're trolling. Let me double check. Answered all of these. So this one, this one, this one. Sounds like you're trolling, bro. What's your current split? Low volume. Yes, I do low volume, high intensity. I do a push day twice a week. One time is chest focused, and the other one is shoulder focused. And same for legs. Low volume, high intensity. So one is quad focused, and then the other one is hamstring focused. And I do a little bit of glute work, adductor work, calf work, and then I do back once a week, because the back is freaking huge, bro. I mean, what the fuck? Look at these lats. You can fucking flex them, make them pop. So no, I do back once a week, and that seems to work quite well. Yeah. So push legs, rest, push legs. Pull, and then that's it. All right, thanks for the super sticker. Let me see if there's a question somewhere. Nope. All right, guys, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Oh, here. Is that you? No, that's somebody else. All right, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back, and then we'll finish off the last hour. Give me a minute. Where are we? All right. Much better. Duke Nukem quotes. I was laughing about everybody calling himself a doctor on YouTube, even wearing a robe. Yeah, it's an epidemic right now. Guys, there's no doctor for steroid talk. The TNT guys that I talked to, like besides like Andrew Wingy, right? He moved to Qatar, I think. He's a legitimate TRT guy. He actually studied for that shit, and he worked in the ER, you know. So, but if you don't have any real doctor experience, then shut the fuck up, man. Just shut the fuck up. Like, I know Dr. Dean is a doctorate, right? I mean, he's a chemical engineer. Do you hear him talk about how he's a doctor all the fucking time? No. Do you hear Dr. Scott Stevenson talk about that? No. And everybody else is, I'm a doctor this, doctor that, I got a PhD this, PhD that. Shut the fuck up, man. We're talking about steroids here. There's no education for that. It's all self-taught. And using a doctor or a PhD or whatever as some sort of role of authority is I'm not falling for it, man. I'm not falling for it. Really. It just turns me off. Makes me want to unsubscribe. All right, you guys figure it out amongst yourself. Unsubscribe. Oh, here we got an angry person, Willie Waldo. So our Q&A is for paying members. Put it in the title. You ignored my question again. I was a sub when you had low subs. Unsubscribing. Listen, let me help you on your way. Listen, there's a boatload of super chats and they get preference, and then there's member questions they get preference, and then at the end, when the member questions and the super chats run out, then we'll go to the other people. But dude, look at the chat. There's like 1,000 questions here already. Do you think I have time for all of you? Pick a fucking cue card. If you want to skip the queue, pay me. It's that simple. You go to Starbucks and you're hey, can I have a coffee? And you don't pay? You think the service is free? Shut the fuck up. Fucking pathetic piece of shit. Get the fuck out of here. You would have understood this if you were a long-term subscriber. People are so entitled nowadays. Think they're special. You know? You have a YouTube channel yourself, you'll understand. All right, where are we? Here we go. Rob Karras. I was on 120 cypionate. Before that, I got my test up to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter. My estradiol was at 200 European units, so that's 200 picomoles per liter. That's not too high. I'm a bit fat, had no estrogen side, worried about AI. Yeah, watch the video about how you not have to worry about AI. Again, a lot of fake doctors out there say you should never run an AI, and then they extrapolate data from postmenopausal women, postmenopausal women with breast cancer with zero estradiol, then crushing their estradiol to minus 10, for example, with an aromatase inhibitor. Said, the bone mineral loss. It's so exhausting, man. I mean, people don't know how to fucking interpret this shit, you know? Like, same as the Richard studies. Look at the sample size. These people have diabetes and are morbidly obese. Do you identify as a person with diabetes and that's morbidly obese? So can't we just extrapolate what we can, learn from it, and then draw our own conclusions and make a better approach for people who are healthy and don't want these terrible side effects and don't need to run 12 milligrams as a clinical dose? They get plenty of appetite suppression on 3 milligrams. 10 years from now, maybe some of you guys will get it. 10 years from now. It's Anyway, where was he? So you went to 100 CYP because your test was this high, right? Okay. Yeah, I would not be worried about an aromatase inhibitor. Watch that video. I have a few videos on this topic, and and unlike other educators, I have actual citations, so you can do your own research. That should be the fucking norm, huh? Yeah, the scientific evidence says, show me the fucking scientific evidence. If you post a PubMed ID, I want to stab you. You use this fucking dull knife. You open it up, and then this is what I want to do. PubMed IDs. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, you can find it this way. No. You want to be scientific, you put a full fucking citation. A full one. Correctly, too. with the date and the authors and the title and the fucking DOI number and a link to the full study, whether that's on Science Hub or somewhere else. I feel bad for you guys because you don't have much options. There's a lot of guys out there, but most of them are shit. Most of them they're just half-assing it, and they speak very confidently, and they use their doctorate. I'm a doctor. I know what I'm talking about. Well, then prove it in the fucking description section with the fucking citations, you piece of shit. Anyway, Rob cares. If you want to run 100 milligrams a sip because your test was this high, then go for it. I would still add in a little bit of HCG. Might Trampolines have potential unique beneficial effects on bone, IGF-1 synergy? It could be. I can't remember reading anything in the scientific evidence. Some arm wrestlers have proposed that Trampolines in combination with GH is uniquely potent for bone gains. I know. I read like 900 studies on Trampolines. A lot of them were like toxicity reports regarding environmental toxicity because Trampolines acetate leaks into the groundwater after it's been implanted into heifers, however you pronounce it. So a lot of those studies I did not read fully, obviously, because it has to do with environmental pollution and not with actual effects on the animals in which it's administered to. But I can't remember reading anything about bone metabolism. And again, if there's anything on bone metabolism in Trampolines, it's in a deep dive. I would consider that a unique evidence-based unique characteristic. I would have included it. Potentially it could have a unique beneficial effect on bone with IGF-1 synergy because Trampolines, unlike some other steroids, was shown to increase IGF-1 levels, again, in animals, not in humans. No human studies to be found. So, again, we're not 100% sure, or it has not been proven in humans that it increases IGF-1 levels. And I can't remember anybody saying, like, hey, added in Trampolines and my IGF-1 levels went up. That happens from growth hormone, sure. But adding in Trampolines and then IGF-1 going up by 20%? No. I've never heard anybody or haven't seen blood work ever of that happening. And if you have the blood work, please present it to me. But yeah, if you're going on a purely biological biological and how the human body works, yeah, potentially it could increase bone mineral density. But most steroids increase bone mineral density. It just hasn't been proven for all of them scientifically. Let's see. You said that before that enhanced training produces more oxidative stress than natty training. Does it apply to TRT too? I think so, yeah. Natties also produce testosterone. What about exogenous hormone? That's bad. No, you just produce more free radicals, basically, because you can train harder, and it seems to be a dose-dependent effect. Now, obviously, TRT, if you go higher than what you produce, let's say you're 500 nanograms per deciliter, and you go to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter, top of the reference range with TRT, then yes, you increase the potential for oxidative stress because you can train harder. And testosterone facilitates that. So training already causes oxidative stress. Training harder on steroids produces more oxidative stress, which you can easily offset with antioxidants. So again, if you train hard on steroids, you need copious amounts of antioxidants. And people that say that you can't take antioxidants around the workout because it blunts the post-exercise stress response, and thus you won't gain any muscle tissue, those are just poor bodybuilders. You can't use that as an excuse. Dude, I've used 5 grams of vitamin C and 2 grams of NAC and vitamin E and high estrogen and injectable glutathione and NAD plus and all throughout the day and around the workout, and I still look good, man. I'm 230 pounds lean, So don't worry about the taking antioxidants around the workout. You're not competing. Chill the fuck out. You create more free radicals because you can train harder. And it's scientifically proven. So which video I discussed that? And otherwise you can find it on PubMed, Steroids, oxidative stress, training. I'm sure you get the studies. Methylene blue versus cerebrolysine regarding neurogenesis, brain health healing. I don't think that methylene blue causes neurogenesis. Could be through MAOI inhibition, but I think cerebrolysine would be better for that. Yeah. Yeah, I still have some notes about the brain drive neurotropic factor deep dive. My priorities have shifted. Hey Steve, currently running 300 milligrams testosterone cypionate, 300 milligrams blend of Primo E and Mastrone E weekly. How legit is that? Send it in for testing, bro. Along with 10 milligrams daily of Tren and 25 milligrams Anavar the last 10 weeks, maybe just 8 weeks. Question is, what is a good PCT? Watch the PCT video, man. You need to stop the Primo, the Mastrone, the Trembolone, and the Anavar for at least 2 months, 3 months. Stay on the testosterone cypionate, maybe 200 milligrams a week to kind of get used to, endogenous levels of testosterone, or maybe 150 milligrams testosterone cypionate. Then you stop the testosterone cypionate for another 5 weeks. You can use some HCG in the meantime to kind of kickstart testicular function. And then use the Novadex and the Clomid, or the Enclomiphene if you prefer. But I discuss all of that at length at PCT videos. I have 2 on this channel. I discuss step by step. I discuss this also in the PCT ebook, but I basically discuss the exact same thing in the video. So whether you want to read it or listen to it, it's pretty much the same information. Go a little bit more in depth in the ebook, obviously. Because that would probably be a 1 hour video if I convert that into a video. But you need to stop everything besides non-bioidentical, all the non-bioidentical hormones you need to stop for 2 months, 3 months while running TRT and maybe HCG to restore testicular function. Then stop the testosterone and the HCG until you feel like a little girl. Then there's no negative feedback, and then you can start the SERMs. But I explain everything with dosages in the PCT videos. Hey Steve, my metabolism was wrecked from previous retatrutide I can barely eat 1,200 calories. I am now on 250 tests, 150 Primo, 2 use growth hormone, 2 milligrams retatrutide and cardio and lifting weights, and still stuck at the same weight. Any advice? I slowly increase the calories with 10% increases. So if you eat 1,200 calories, you go to 1,300 calories, then maybe 1,500 calories, then 1,700 calories, 1,750. Slowly increasing, man. I mean, if you were using too much retatrutide, you were dieting hard, then you just got to slowly reverse diet by increasing your metabolism. And check your thyroid hormones in the meantime. Maybe you wrecked your thyroid hormones, and it doesn't matter how much test and Primo and GH you run. Without adequate thyroid hormones, you're not going to have a good metabolism, and you're going to get fat easy. So you might need a replacement dose of T3 and T4, or you slowly need to let the nutrients do its job with the iodine and the vitamin K and the salts and plenty of protein, and then slowly bring your metabolism back up. But yeah, eating 1,200 calories is pretty low, man. Slowly bring it up over time and check your hormones, because you might need to supplement with some thyroid until you get your calories under control, and then you can phase out the thyroid hormones. I also got a video on that. Dude, this guy's got a video for everything. Yeah. Joshua is the best name for a masculine child. Jocelyn for a girl. Jocelyn. Joshua. I still like Kronos. Coming to America. Maybe I'll see you at the Arnold. Yeah, the Arnold is on the to-do list. Yeah, I'll have to, I'll just have to get a good flight. Let's see. The Safety Super. Man, it's still 25 minutes behind. What the hell? Uncut. 100 milligrams testosterone cypionate, 50 milligrams Mastrone E every other day. BBC 157, 500 micrograms every day. Tadalafil, 5 milligrams. Bloods are good. I have pain from a past injury. Add 50 milligrams Deca or an MPP for pain relief. Man, you could have pain for so many things that Deca would not alleviate. I mean, you might need, what is it called? Celebrex? It's like an NSAID. Celebrex. That reduces pain, relief pain, swelling, and inflammation. Deca might be able to help. But again, pain relief, that's a receptor thing, not a water retention and tendon thing. So if you have pain, it's either going to heal, and maybe you need some deep tissue massage therapy, some Graston technique to kind of break apart the adhesions, improve blood flow. Right? A BPC of 157 is not going to do that for you. Yeah, so I would need to know more. But you can add it in and see if it offers you some relief. But Celebrex or another NSAID might offer you relief also. It's not very sustainable, obviously. What's the other one? Arcoxia? Oh, it's not approved in the US. Celebrex. Let's see. Yeah, they're similar pathways, but different brands. But Arcoxia is not available in the US. So maybe do a little bit of research comparing Arcoxia versus Celebrex. Arcoxia you can probably find on my source list if you prefer that one. But yeah, pain relief is complicated, man. You could add in the NPP or the Deca at 50 milligrams per day. I'm not against it. But it might not offer you the relief that you're after. You might need something else. 39-year-old male, 6'3". Huh, everybody's so tall. But you're light, 165 pounds. Jesus Christ. 6'3" and 165 pounds? Wow. 300 grams of protein per day, 10 grams of boron. I'm sure you talk about milligrams. For 2 years, starting 200 milligrams testosterone per week. Soon, natural testosterone is 781. Free, or I'd say 50 SMG 83. What injection frequency do you recommend? I would start with daily. It sucks, but at least you get used to it. And at 200 milligrams per day divided by 7, let's say 30 milligrams per day. So that's 210 milligrams per week. And take the boron out. Yeah, add in some HCG. But dude, you just need to eat more, man. You're so light. You just need to eat more. Your SHBG will come down from the insulin release. Go to like 300 protein, 500 carbs, 150 fat slowly over time, and then increase your weight that way. Because you sound underweight from undereating. That's very light, dude. 165 pounds for 6'3", man. Has Dr. Dean considered releasing a fake dissertation to catch Diago? No, man. Dean is too straight edge for that. Why is he $10? Any question? I think this is you. Currently 4 months since the last pin came off cycle for fertility, cold turkey, no PCT. My blood work shows LH 4.4 milliunits per milliliter, FSH 2.2 milliunits per milliliter, testosterone 192 nanograms per deciliter. Should I continue with no PCT? Thank you. Well, your LH and FSH came back, and that's pretty normal for somebody who was off cycle, who was on cycle and then came off cycle. So maybe you need a little bit more time. But maybe this LH response is no longer good enough for a high testosterone level. I would do a semen analysis, and then look into either enclomiphene for a short period of time to increase your LH and FSH, maybe 4 to 6 weeks, or replacing the LH with HCG and the FSH with injectable FSH at 75 IUs 3 times a week, or every day ideally. But do a semen analysis now. Maybe your fertility is already good. You don't need high testosterone for good fertility, as weird as it sounds. You need high LH and FSH. And if it's been 4 months, then it might already be time for you to start conceiving. So do a semen analysis and then take it from there. How to make my LSD microdose more potent? So Mirabegron. Mirabegron, what is it? The 2A5 enzymes? Mirabegron enzyme inhibition. Oh, the CYP2D6. I was close. It was a letter and a number off. Moderate inhibitor of the cytochrome P450 2D6. And 2D6 also metabolizes LSD. LSD. Let me just confirm that. Yeah. Cytochrome P450 2D6 is a liver enzyme that metabolizes lysergic acid diethylamide, abbreviated to LSD. Now, I took allegedly Mirabegron at 150 milligrams per day and maybe a microdose here and there. And I did not notice that my microdose was more potent. So maybe I should have done a double microdose and maybe a little bit more Mirabegron and then notice the difference. But, If you want more than a microdose, just do a that's not a microdose dose, where you're like, I usually I take a quarter, but now I'm going to take half. Yeah, or just a full fucking stamp, you know? You go with the 100 micrograms and then you go watch Tron Ares. I heard that was a great movie. I heard it was a great movie if you would microdose 100 micrograms. Microdose for 4 weeks. Or for 4 people. Good times. LSD, yeah, here. Joshua knows. So 2D6, Benadryl and others block. Yeah, so if you take a Benadryl, it can get you out of a trip, right? Or Valium. Which, I don't know, just build your way up, and you don't need to keep that on standby. The glucagon is $75 a kit. It's the 210 shipping that hurts your balls. Yes, erythritide is a suitable solution, right, to the overly priced glucagon and the shipping. But, yeah, it's, you know, some people have that money to spend, you know. You could also just spend $75 on Follistatin and get some results that way, you know. Liam, what do you think is the minimum amount of Deca for joint lubrication? And do you believe NPP has different mental effects, or is that a myth? Yeah, so some people report that Deca gives them a bad response mentally, and then they switch to NPP, and then they have no mental effects. Now, I've run Deca now at 600 milligrams, and I've run a gram in the past, and I get no mental effects. Now, I'm running fluvoxamine and methylene blue, so maybe that has something to do with it. And I'm at a pretty good point in my life, and when people talk shit, I'm just like, I don't really see, I just don't care. I stopped giving a fuck a long time ago. The Art of Not Giving a Fuck, give that book a read. It will change your life. The Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I think they have an ebook on YouTube as well, so you can just listen to it. But yeah, if Deca is giving you some mental side effects, then switch to NPP. Is it the injection frequency or some sort of GABAergic or dopaminergic effects? I'm not entirely sure. And I think the minimal effective dose for joint lubrication, depending on how big you are, could be as little as 50 milligrams. I mean, I'm using 60 milligrams or 600 milligrams now because I just want to train heavy again. I haven't done it for a year. I did the high rep stuff, you know, reps in reserve, and I just got smaller. So I'm just going back to pounding my joints and pounding the muscle and doing slow, controlled reps with forceful contractions. 4 to 6 reps, maybe 9, or a couple partials. No drop sets, no supersets, no fluff work, and I just go fucking hard. And I grunt and I scream and I drool and I sweat, and that's what puts on the mass, bro. Ugh. Yeah, look at his chest. Look at this shit. Hell, man, it's coming off the bone. Look at this shit. Then this color correction it makes me look like I have high blood pressure. I need to fix the studio. Trust me, guys. If you go to my Instagram, you see a couple pictures with the people I met in the gym. Instagram story. I mean, I'm pale. Oh, me eating cheesecake. I look pretty big. Legs are down a little bit, unfortunately. But I am dieting. I'm doing cardio. But the lats are so fat you can see them from the front. 2 years ago, I lost 150 pounds natty, and my appetite is still ravenous, and megadosing GLP-1s doesn't work. I'm screwed for the rest of my life. Even on megadosing GLP-1s? I mean, you can look into cagrilinotide. People running like tirzepatide and cagrilinotide, or erythritide and cagrilinotide. I mean, omega-aminos. Chase Irons actually had that compounded. And that really crushes your appetite. I mean, I felt a little bit tired and lethargic on cagrilinotide, and it made me so lethargic that I got hungry. It sounds weird, right? But when you're like really lethargic, you get hungry and then you get more energy to compensate for the lethargy. So I was running 0.5 milligram cagrilinotide 3 times a week. Maybe I should have run less, but I took it out and then I threw it away. This drug is not for me. So maybe you need to look into cagrilinotide. Then there's tesofensine, right? 250 micrograms 3 times a week, or maybe every day. Or you need to go to AA meeting and discuss your appetite, problems with people who are alcoholics. You might be able to learn something from them. But yeah, my appetite is ravenous too, man. It sucks. The only way I can control it that it doesn't affect me is with GLP-1s. And if GLP-1s doesn't work for you, then you have cagrilintide or tesofensine or Adderall or Wellbutrin. Thoughts on the gear shortages? How long will it take for other countries' suppliers to pick? I don't know, man. It's just that's just the current state of affairs. I discussed it at length with Dr. Dean and Kurt, so that will be in the Anabolic Roundtable. So I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it's some sources can get gear, some sources can't. Some sources can get gear. They test it, it's good, and then the next sachet from the same source is bad. So they do, they test every little bag that they get, and then they produce with the bags that. Jesus Christ, Conley Fit, you're out of here, man. You're going fucking nuts in the comment section. Fucking hell, dude. Every other post is you. Get out of here. Stop acting like a 15-year-old. Unbelievable. Thoughts on a gear short? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just answered that. So, some sources are really struggling and some sources just can't get it, so they don't produce. So if you see a source that has everything on the list, it's a bit of a red flag, but hey, maybe they have the connections. And if you see a source with half of the stuff on the list and the other half is just out of stock until further notice, then you're probably it's probably a better source than other sources because they don't produce with what they can't get, obviously. How much supply in hand do you recommend to have? I mean, right now you can't get any supply. So I have plenty of supply because as soon as I heard this problem it was going to happen, then I stocked up. That's my stock. That's not for sale, obviously. So we warned you guys 9 months ago or 12 months ago, and nobody listened. What can you do, man? I mean, I told people to buy Bitcoin in the dip, and they didn't do it. Now they want to buy it. Or people want to buy gold now. This is the peak, man. This is the top. You don't have much time left. It's very risky. So, guys, when I tell you to do something, you better listen, man. It's not. I'm not like I'm saying it for fun. When I told you guys to buy Eli Lilly stock or Novo Nordisk stock, it wasn't joking. You could have gotten all your retatrutide and tirzepatide for free. So I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know who's going to pick up the supply. Everybody that I talk to behind the scenes that say that India is absolutely horrendous to work with. These people are just scamming left and right. But that's the culture. Culturally, they're just messed up over there. So they all just want to make a quick buck, and they don't care about long-term relations. Whereas the Chinese do care about that. But even with long-term relations right now, that they send what they have, and then they don't test it themselves. They think that they're getting real stuff, and then they just forward it to you, and then you test it, and it's trash. I mean, watch the Janoschik interview with the Think Big Bodybuilding. I mean, it's absolutely horrendous right now. So some people can't even get Test E, and then it's bad. So I hope you have stock, and otherwise buy pharmaceutical. Buy a pharmaceutical. Send a super chat and my question got ignored. All right, let me see. Compa. Let me look. I don't see your super chat either, bro. Oh, here. I just answered this. Are you getting impatient? What the fuck? Oh, God. It's like all these new people going nuts. Let's see. Oh, my daughter is crying. Yeah, usually I feed her at this time. It's 2:00. Time to feed the baby, but my wife is on it. Let's see. High Deca low test. High test didn't work well. You can give it a try. Some people like High Deca no test, or High Deca and HCG, or High Deca and Dianabol. But I tried High Deca, like a gram of Deca with no test, and I didn't feel good from a motivational and masculinity perspective. I mean, it worked. I got fucking juicy. I got fucking big. So I look pretty big right now. Yeah, Anadrol's kicking in, bro. My daughter loves it when I do chest pump. Like I say hi, and then I do, and she starts laughing, like it's the best thing in the world. So, yeah, man, all these drugs and incline dumbbell presses for chest booba gains, so my daughter can laugh at 4 months old. That's what we do it for, man. But a high Deca low test, give it a try. If high didn't test work well for you, but you can also do moderate test and moderate primo and give that a try. Or moderate test and a little bit of Tren and a little bit of Anavar, right? There's a million different combinations, and you just stick to the combinations that work. Like people say that, you shouldn't run off-season drugs while you're cutting. Well, it works for me. 600 test, 600 Deca and Anadrol. I'm getting lean just the same, dude. And my joints feel absolutely good. Now my elbow is a little bit sore, but it's getting better. Removed a couple exercises. But yeah, I'm still getting stronger and setting PRs even though I'm in caloric deficit. And yeah, some people just, I don't know, don't want to complain. What's up, Coach? Glad the Vigorous Q&As are back. Yeah, I'll try to do this every weekend again, where we found a nice routine, and that means that Q&As can come back. My daughter took the studio room, so I'm at my desk right now. I mean, I don't know if you can see this, but hopefully, oh man, this is way too tight. Anyway, all the Legos are up there. Anyway, fuck. Let me see if I can show it. Where is the swing arm? There we go. Look at this. Look at this collection. That's the here. That's the 1983 or 1986 Black Barracuda. That's a Deku Tree version 1. That's number 2, and that's Bowser and a fire plant. Let me see if this is the good angle. Oh, that's not the good angle. Is this the good angle? Does this one make me look good? Yeah, that's okay. All right, I'll tighten it a little bit later. So yeah, I got a new studio because actually I had to move downstairs because my daughter took. Oh no, I'm not wearing any shorts. No, I'm not. That's not true. Let me tighten this a bit. Oh man, that's way too low. Oh, all right. That will get it done till the end. Don't zoom in too much. Okay. Yeah, so we're in my desk now, and we'll record from here. I just need to do the lights. Every time I want to do it, it's something else comes up, and then I don't do it. What's up, dude? Steve, white blood cells low, monocytes, neutrophils. Any advice on how to improve? No illness, time of bloods. 3 times of testing, white blood cells are always low, any protocol. So the only thing that really improves white blood cell count is growth hormone on cycle. Steroids usually lower white blood cell count to about 4,000, 5,000, what was it, million per cubic millimeter. That was the concentration, give or take. So steroids, white blood cells have androgen receptors, and it seems that steroids shorten the half-life of white blood cells, and thus there's less in the blood. So the production is the same, but they turn over faster due to increased androgens in the bloodstream. And that means that your total white blood cell count is going to be low. Now, a skewed differential of monocytes and neutrophils, I would have to do some research. Off the top of my head, I'm not exactly sure what could cause that. But yeah, growth hormone is the only thing that can actually increase white blood cell count on cycle. So the guys that run like 10, 12, 89 years of growth hormone, you see that their white blood cell count is actually quite high, even if they're on boatload of steroids. And until the 4 IUs, you don't really see much of a difference. So you really need to ramp up the growth hormone dose, which comes with its own issues, right? Carpal tunnel, water retention. I'm running 6 IUs right now. My water retention is noticeable. Like last week, it was a lot leaner. But hey, my white blood cell count might be a little bit higher too, and thus my immunity is better, I would say. But why your monocytes and neutrophils are low and otherwise are skewed, I mean, could be a little sniffle, could be a little injection problem, but then usually see, what is it called, eosinophils elevated. I know zinc helps with your immune system, so maybe supplement some zinc in. There you go. Mr. H2O says AP is a great dude, and honestly, I'd argue that his customer service is better than Amazon. Yeah, I would have to concur, man. I would have to concur. I mean, most guys are very happy with AP. I think AP is one of the best in the business. I would consider him a friend. Seems like a super cool guy. We had many discussions, on Telegram. And, I remember when he got started, I told him just make sure that your service is impeccable. And the only time when there's issues is because customers act like assholes, So if you had an issue with them, okay, seizures happen. They have a reship policy. So, buddy, you're asking. Well, you're probably late. If you keep posting this, then I'm just gonna have to block you. Also, it takes fucking time, man. I'm 30 minutes behind on questions. Yeah. So fucking relax. This is from 1:36 a.m. It's 2:10 a.m. now, so we're 30 minutes behind. It takes time, man, to get through all these questions. And then people who don't super chat and are not members, they act entitled, like I have, like I can answer all of the questions. Dude, you should see my inbox on Instagram. How many I ignore there? It's like every day I get like 500 messages, and then the people say, "Hey, I would like a reply." I said, "Motherfucker, why are you taking time away that I could be spending with my daughter or my motorbikes?" Background looks like a Borg cube. Resistance is futile. You will be assimilated. Yeah, they got that virus going on here, so you can't do anything. I started jogging daily for 30 minutes. I used to do it fasted, but recently I've done it in a fat state, and after training, I feel less beat up doing it this way. What benefits do I miss out not doing cardio fasted? Fat loss, that's about it, but you still get the cardiovascular endurance. You still get the caloric expenditure, but it might come from food. And if you feel less beat up, then you're probably burning less muscle glycogen and topping that off with food glucose, obviously. So the only thing that you're missing out on is direct fat loss, which in a net, if your calories are exactly the same, you might still get a net benefit regarding fat loss over the day. But I feel that in the morning it's just a little bit more beneficial, and you get the day started that way. So I prefer it fasted, but if it works, it works. Let's see, we're 30 minutes behind. Okay, I'm gonna put up a banner. No more super chats, guys. This is no excuses, okay? Because I still have a lot of questions to go. So anything you put from this moment forward, all right, it's right here. This is the last guy, Braun. This is the last guy that I'm going to answer. Any super chat after that, any membership question after that, I'm not going to answer. I'm going to have to throw in the towel soon because we're still way behind. Fuck, it's still a lot, man. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit faster. YZ, currently 4 months since the last spin-off cycle for fertility stopped cold turkey. I already answered this question. What's your current diet like? What foods do you eat and what macros? I eat 2,800 calories from keto. I eat beef, pork, chicken, salmon, and eggs, and a little bit of collagen, protein powder, and glutamine powder, and some essential amino acids. Macros, I have no idea. I'll include my diet. My diet that I've been eating so far is either in every blood work video, every experiment video, I include my diet. So I'll include my diet in the next video when I discuss the high dose SLU. But it's just beef, pork, chicken, salmon, eggs, and some healthy fats here and there, some fruit post-workout. But macros, I can't remember off the top of my head, man. I eat the same fucking food every day unless it's Sunday. Let's see. 4 weeks out from a show, endurance and strength way down at the gym. Any tips to maintain muscle? 50 milligrams pre-workout already, 450 test, 30 milligrams every day. Tren, 280 Primo, 280 Masteron. Yeah, 4 weeks out, you're just fucked. You can look into the mitochondrial support stack to get some energy from an ATP perspective and help with fat loss. But you're on enough steroids to maintain your muscle. And 4 weeks out, you're just going to be tired, man. That's part of the game. It's part of the game. Amphetamines, cocaine might get you out of a slump, right? That's why a lot of guys get addicted. addicted to Adderall during a contest prep if they have access to it. But the mitochondrial support stack might give you some energy, might not help with strength. I mean, that's why we put the halotestin in the last 2 weeks to increase strength a little bit, or anadrol. But if you're 4 weeks out, you're probably 6% body fat, and that means you're miserable. It's part of the game, man. It's part of the game. Zionic, thanks so much for taking care of me and my questions. Super appreciated. Side note, I loved how you lit up when talking about your daughter and being a daddy. So happy for your brother. Yeah, thanks so much, man. It's one of the last things that I wanted in my life. Like all the financial goals I reached. I got a house. Okay, I want a bigger house, but I already have a house. So that's just the same thing, but better, right? I got the motorbikes that I wanted. And there's a few more, but it's more of the same. And so the daughter, I was looking forward to that for like 10, 15 years. But I wanted to be financially secure first, which I accomplished. And then it took a little bit longer than expected to have kids because we had kids over 40. So it takes a little bit longer. And I can't wait to have a boy also. I can't wait, man. It's like the best thing ever. And I want a serval. But first, the 7 Sphinx cats that I have need to pass away because the serval is a handful, and I need my kids to be a little bit older. So, in about 12 years, I think all the cats that I have now would have passed away, and based on their age, and then the kids are like 12 to 13 years old, and then I can have a serval. Yeah, serval, bigger house, and a son, and then I'm fucking done, dude. 3 more things I want in life. That's sad. I have some more motorbikes, but yeah, having kids is the best thing ever. Difference between GH every day and every other day with the same IUs for the week. You might have better insulin sensitivity and less bloating if you take GH every other day versus GH. So let's say you take 6 IUs per day. 6 times 7, that's 42 units per week, divided by 3.5. So you take 12 IUs per day. Surprisingly, you'd probably have less water retention on 12 IUs every other day and better blood glucose management the day after your growth hormone injection versus 6 IUs growth hormone every single day before bed. But again, I don't really experience that because, well, I live the lifestyle and I take the supplements and I go to the gym. So I don't have any blood glucose issues. I also do a ketogenic diet, so I have 70 to 150 grams of carbs per day. And that's not going to, ruin with your insulin sensitivity, especially if you take all of those carbs post-workout. So I have a whole bowl of fruit, sugar fasting style, post-workout, but I also have some salmon. And so it's a growth hormone and insulin sensitivity is not an issue for me. But anecdotally, people, especially during the off-season, every other day or 3 times per week, growth hormone bolus administrations, less issue with glucose homeostasis and less issues with water retention. Jacob, 24-year-old male on TRT due to an injury, did 500 test cycle, no AI, low aromatizer, want to do test, HGH, anniversary cycle. Would GH be helpful? ATT? Natty IGF-1 at the moment? What the fuck does ATT stand for? American Telephone Company. Okay. No. Attached. Attention attorney. Would, or you mean helpful at all? Yeah, GH would be helpful, man. It sounds like a good cycle to me. 500 tests, 4 IUs growth hormone or 2 IUs growth hormone, Anavar, 10, 20 milligrams per day. Go for it. Go for it. And if you're a low aromatizer, then you don't have to worry about Anavar because it has no estrogen suppressing effects. Okay, so I have Arimidex. At what number should I be taking? 1/4 milligram, maybe add 100 milligrams of Primo. Yeah, so this is a follow-up question that I can't remember, man. I'm sorry, I can't remember your previous question, and we're too close to the end for me to start scrolling. Sir Swagsloth with the $20 super chat. Any experience with 9-MeBC? No, unfortunately I don't. Also, does ketogenic diet potentially slightly decrease GH gains from less IGF-1? I'm thinking, yeah, it could be. It could be the ketogenic diet because the lack of carbohydrates and less the lack of liver glycogen lowers IGF-1 output. That could be a reason why my IGF-1 is a little bit on the low side comparatively. But I can't remember The last time I really ate a lot of carbohydrates is a long time ago, and I can't remember off the top of my head what my IGF-1 levels were. If I experimented with GH, I do keto anyway to preserve insulin sensitivity and my hemoglobin A1C. Yeah, so you might get a little bit of less IGF-1. How much of a percentage lower? 5, 10, 20%? I'm not really sure. But hey, you could always take more growth hormone to compensate. I'll check my IGF-1 levels tomorrow and then see how low they are on 6. I use growth hormone, but I'm full as a house. I could, when your growth hormone is starting to kick in, you put the rings on, and like this ring used to fall off. Now it stays stuck, and that's in a week, dude. Same as my shoes. Put my shoes on today to go out. I'm like, ooh, did my feet get bigger? That's the growth hormone, water retention, man. But hey, at least I'm full. At least I'm strong. Sorry, no experience with 9-MeBC. Yeah, I'm happy with the nootropics that I use currently. What's the maximum Reta dosage you feel comfortable running? I would go up to 7 milligrams a week, so 1 milligram per day. I wouldn't be against that. Thoughts on MPP Deca on medium doses on a cut, 200 to 400 milligrams. Also, do you think bulking on Reta is a bad idea? No, if the dose of Reta is low enough that you don't get appetite suppression, then it's fine, right? It might help with insulin sensitivity and liver health. But again, that's extrapolated from scientific evidence based on a caloric deficit, not a caloric surplus. I do know a lot of guys that run Reta a quarter milligram, half a milligram during a bulk, and their insulin sensitivity is good, and their bulk is more effective. And again, you still take away the food noise, so the diet adherence is better also. Like during the off-season, a lot of guys, they snack a little bit too much. Cookie here, donut there, ice cream there, and then they get fatter than they should be. Where the appetite, if the reticulocyte at a low dose helps with insulin sensitivity and potentially offsets non-alcoholic fatty liver disease when you're in a caloric surplus, and also takes away the food noise, then you obviously eat better throughout the entire off-season. You still gain the same amount of muscle mass, but you stay leaner throughout. So, and that's a huge benefit because then your cut doesn't have to be so aggressive. And yeah, Deca and NPP, I mean, I'm running 600 milligrams right now during a cut, and I love it. I'm just watery at the end of the day. It's just fucking watery. So I think what I'll do is I'll run this probably until the end of the year, and then I'll do TRT. But if I want to continue the cycle, I'll probably run Deca until I'm like the lower back and the glutes are like uniformly lean, so you don't really have skin folds, and all the skin looks just similar between the forearm and the this and the abs. And then I would replace the Deca with Primo, for example. Watch all the water drop away, and then you get all this phenomenal quote-unquote fat loss, which is just water retention going away. And then you will literally mutate in the course of 6 weeks. So that's what I'm aiming for. I'm just going to run the Deca as long as I need to, because again, I'm not stepping on stage. I don't really give a shit if I'm watery at the end of the day or not. I just care about performance in the gym. And again, I want to move heavy weights. And for that, I prefer a little bit of Deca and Nandrolone, or Deca and Anadrol in the picture, and growth hormone. So watery, but strong as a house. And again, as long as I wake up in the morning and look in the mirror, I'm like, I got veins in my abs and a couple of veins in my quads and some lines in my glutes, and my lower back is in, then I'm happy, dude. I don't need to look at myself the rest of the day. And if I have a good performance in the gym or later in the day when I retain a little bit of water, then I'm happy. So I'm not against it at all. You can cut on anything. Anavar and Trembolone might have some beneficial effects regarding glucocorticoid inhibition, glucocorticoid receptor inhibition, so you have less of a catabolic effect, and it might help with fat loss in certain areas. But, when do you really see that? That's 6% body fat? Will I get down to 6% body fat? Probably not. I'll probably end up at 8, take a Deca out, and then look 8. Now I look 12% when I'm 10, and I'll look 10 when I'm 12 due to the water retention. Where you take the Deca and a GH out, and then you might throw in a little bit of Primo or Masteron, and then all the water just dissipates. You'll lose 10 pounds or 5 kilos on the scale, and then you literally mutate. And you lost no body fat in that time. It's just water distribution. So, Ben is from previous shoulder injury surgery due to torn tendon. Yeah, so Deca is not going to magically reattach the tendon, and if for torn tendons and shoulder surgery, I would think you'll have more beneficial effects from deep tissue massage therapy, acupuncture, some dry needling, and active release therapy to break apart the adhesions in the injury site. Like I had like a shoulder injury here, and I had it for years. And then I had one guy do dry needling, and it just break apart all the adhesions for some normal blood flow. I still have a little bit here, but he only did 2 sessions while he was here. And dude, it feels so good right now. I had it for 5 years, where you feel this clicking motion. It feels fucked up inside, you know. You still shoulder press 40 kilo dumbbells. Right? Can't stop the lifestyle. Can't stop the gain train. But it would hurt. And then I had this guy just do the dry needling in there, and it would be fucking messy, black and blue. And then a month later, the pain was gone because the blood flow was returned, because the adhesions were gone. So I think it's more beneficial than throwing the Deca at it. Have you tried epithalone or delta sleep-inducing peptide? I heard people get nice sleep benefits from them. I didn't notice any sleep benefits from epithalone. I ran it a couple times while fasting. I don't notice any benefits. It's just one of those feel-good things like, oh, the scientific evidence says that it has a lot of benefits regarding the extension of telomeres by upregulating telomerase activity, but I also take astragalus root extract daily, which also upregulates telomerase activity. But I didn't notice any benefits regarding sleep quality. Delta sleep-inducing peptide, didn't notice anything of that either. I ran 2 different brands. Didn't improve my sleep. I sleep on like a baby on 5 milliliters cerebrolysine, and over 4 I use growth hormone. 10 I use, I'm knocked out, I'm drooling. It's nasty, it's messy. So 5 milliliters cerebrolysine, 10 I use growth hormone before bed. I'm knocked the fuck out, and I wake up feeling super refreshed. Bump the mitochondrial dose. You are tired, man. It's 2:30 in the morning. I go to bed at 4 a.m. What do you think? What do you think? If I do this earlier, then nobody's awake. So you want me to do this before bed, or you want me to do it when I wake up, when I'm fresh and I'm lean, when nobody's awake and then you complain like, Steve, you're not doing the Q&A at the right time. Any news on the deal counts L8s mimic a gene therapy? No, I haven't looked or haven't heard anything about that. So, sorry. Let's see. Hey, Steve, a year ago I had ACDF surgery, anterior cervical discectomy infusion. Okay. I gained a lot of visceral fat due to all the corticosteroids. Any peptide I can take to assist with the fat loss? Yeah, richer to tight and caloric restriction. I mean, it's not rocket science. Visceral fat goes away from prolonged caloric restriction. Fasting melts visceral fat. So if you want to fast 1 day a week or 2 days a week, you know, with a couple days of food and then another day of fasting. So maybe you fast Wednesday, Sunday, and the other days you eat. And then you use reticulocyte and maybe the mitochondrial support stack and a higher dose of SLU-PP332. But the foundation for fat loss and the removal of visceral fat is still the same. Exercise and caloric restriction. And then use the peptides to help with that. Jesus, am I still not there? Clomid gave me severely blurred vision, floaters, and loss of color vividness. Are there any valid replacements in a PCT protocol? Am I cooked? And clomiphene apparently doesn't cause those issues. But yeah, some people still get that on clomiphene. So otherwise, you just need to rely on Nolvadex and Tormorphine or Nolvadex solo. Man. I did multiple cycles of LGD 4 years ago. Since that's a SARM, do I need to start dating men now? No. No, but you're not allowed to date women either. So... This is your friend, Eduardo. Master, about the AA question earlier from 300 milligrams testosterone antithesis to 600 milligrams when using 300 micrograms Arimidex per week and 300 milligrams. Jesus Christ. I have exemestane compound. I'll take a few weeks until then. Yeah, so increase the Arimidex until you can get to the exemestane. So I would go to 3 milligrams, 50 micrograms per cap. Well, 50 micrograms per cap would not give you 1.5 milligrams per week. That should be 500 microgram caps. So if you double your test, double your Arimidex, and if your estradiol is 70, then you need to double that to bring it to 35. So you need to double it twice. because you're doubling the test and you want to drop your estrogen by half. So you need to double the dose that you were on twice. Yeah, 300 test, the 600 test, double it. And you want to drop your estrogen from 70 to 35 or 40, so you double the dose of Arimidex again. And then you start with 6.25 milligrams Aromasin 3 times a week and maybe double that to 12.5 or maybe even 25 milligrams 3 times a week. Okay, blood work will tell you. Let's see. 200 milligrams Deca a week gets me kind of jealous and fucks with my mind. I wish it didn't. NPP gave me 0 sides, but also 0 positives. All right, man, maybe Trestalone is the one you need to look into. Thank you. Going to get aggressive with the with the growth hormone, but on 10 IUs will increase. Also taking zinc will increase. Well, if you're on 10 IUs of growth hormone and zinc already, then your white blood cell count should be higher. So maybe you need to lower the steroids. Thoughts on push plus quads and pull plus hamstrings twice per week. If it works for you, then it works for you. I would need to see your physique for me to make an assessment. So give it a try. If it works, keep it, and otherwise change it. All right. I think we're at the end of the member sections and the super chats. Guys, I'm fucking tired. As you might be able to tell, it's 2:30 in the morning and I had a long day. So I'm going to bounce. Sorry if it was a little bit rude at times, but hey, some questions are, they deserve rude responses. So, and again, if you misbehave in the chat and you start throwing a temper tantrum, then I don't got time for you and you're out of here forever. Guys, I would really appreciate it for the guys that are new here to stop DMing me so much. Right? I do the Vigorous Q&A as much as I can, and the free time that I have, I would like to spend with my family. So just because I'm on social media and just because I'm a public figure doesn't mean that you're entitled to my time or that I need to work for you and answer your questions. My priority is with my family, and I set 2.5 hours per week aside during the Vigorous Q&A for you to get your questions in. If you don't want to be on a Vigorous Q&A publicly, then I have services, right? Consultations, personalized advice by email. Yes, it's expensive, but I value my time heavily. And again, if I'm not getting paid, then I'd rather just spend the time with my family. So please, guys, have a little bit of patience with me because I'm a busy guy. And again, I have my priorities. And answering DMs is very low on the priority list. It's so low you don't even. It's like the last priority of the day. So the Vigorous Q&A, yes, I'm available for 2.5 hours. I answer as many questions as I can. Super chats allow you to skip the queue. Memberships also, and then if we have time, as you guys see, the super chats are non-stop. I had to pull the plug with no more super chats at the bottom. So, you know, I can't answer all of the questions. I'm sure you guys understand. And otherwise, go to Chase Irons, go to Paul Barnett. They do weekly live streams as well, and ask there. All right, or hire a fucking coach, or use the search function on the YouTube channel. As you might have noticed, I literally have a video for everything. Maybe not 9MEBC, because I haven't tried it yet. And unlike some other educators, I don't open my mouth until I tried it. Okay, I'll leave it there. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next weekend for another Vigorous Q&A. I'll do as many as I can because my routine is solid and my studio has changed. So now we can do this more often. And, well, 2.5 hours of Q&A is more than any other educator is doing. So this is all you got. All right, guys, I'll see you next weekend. Peace out. Enjoy your cheesecakes and chill out. You know, chill. Have a good chill day tomorrow. As will I. All right, see you guys.